What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 3 Ma. Chapter 51. Huge difference in the number of people. Now what? Open black lens bracket. 5th watch close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Endless conquerors, unleashed from Layfon. Moment. This monstrous conquerors, like an ocean current, washes all corners of the entire pirate ship. The 300 or 400 pirates are all inevitably affected by the conquerors from Layfon. Then, visible to the naked eye, each pirate was originally full of excitement, but when they were enveloped by Conqueror's haki, their eyes turned white, their eyes lost their original expression, and their consciousness was severely smashed. Thump, thump, one pirate after another, the consciousness was directly crushed by Conqueror's haki, thus losing control of the body, unable to control his body and falling to the side. A group of pirates foamed at the mouth, lost all consciousness, and fell to the ground fainted and unconscious. One pour, one slice. Not one or two, but a group. There are more than 300 pirates on the entire pirate ship, and 99% of them have fallen. There were only tiny pirates left, still maintaining a state of sobriety, staring at the current horror scene with horror and horror. The sea breeze blows gently. The atmosphere is weird. Silence. No sound. More than 300 pirates fell to the ground at the same time. This scene must have been weird and creepy, and I couldn't help but get goosebumps all over my body. Terrible. They all fell down in an instant. However, no one noticed what happened just now. There are only a handful of less than 5 people who have never fallen. This includes the captain of the White Bear Pirates, White Bear Rabbits. Now, Rabbit stood stiffly on the deck, looking at the strange events that were happening with horror and shock on his face. He was so shocked that he couldn't calm down, and his brain became a mess. What happened? Why did they all fall down? Rabbits only felt that the strange things made his scalp tingle. Can anyone explain what just happened? Why did these people all fall down in an instant? Unbelievable. Incredible. Rabbit's mind became blank, his face was terrified, and the uncontrollable fear in his heart was infinitely magnified. Unknown horrors will always evoke fear in people's hearts. The smile that had just appeared on the corner of Rabbit's mouth hadn't fully bloomed yet, but was stiffened by the sudden horror that hit the corner of his mouth. Old boss. Advertisement. What happened? Why did they all fall down? The remaining 4 pirates stood beside Rabbits tremblingly. They all looked at their boss Rabbits with a pair of fearful eyes, trying to see the answer they wanted from Rabbits' face. Pity. Rabbits couldn't give them an accurate answer. Rabbits himself didn't even know what was going on. Why did all my subordinates faint in an instant? A ray of sea breeze blows from afar. Cold. The biting coldness made the remaining pirates tremble with horror. Seeing Rabbits' expression, they knew the result. I'm afraid. Like them, their boss is in a state of bewilderment. Okay, so scary. What kind of power can make them all lose consciousness and faint in an instant without a sound? Do not know. The heads of several pirates were confused, and their bodies trembled violently. The painting style changed too fast. They didn't expect it at all. The good situation suddenly ushered in such a strange change. Originally, there were 300 or 400 pirates, so they were confident that they could resist the attack from Marine. But in the blink of an eye, more than 300 people all fell down strangely. Less than a few seconds before and after, they were suddenly alone. And many more. Could it be that? Rabbit's pupils shrank, thinking of the key point. His eyes widened, filled with deep horror, his eyes rolled, trying to find that figure from the deck of the pirate ship. Then, he saw it, in the center of the body of the group of fallen pirates. An immature figure holding a katana, still standing, did not appear to be affected like these fallen pirates. Against the backdrop of fallen pirates all around. This figure was extremely dazzling and eye-catching in Rabbit's eyes. This brat. Rabbit's throat was dry, and he stared at the young figure in front of him with horror and apprehension on his face. He suddenly thought of the key point. The entire pirate ship has not changed except for the arrival of a kid just now. Then the only variable is naturally this kid. Really? When he saw the young figure standing in the center of the fallen figures all around him, Rabbits had already affirmed this guess in his heart. Advertisement. The source of this weird incident is this 6 or 7-year-old kid. Although things are a bit shocking to the world. But this is the only guess that Rabbits can think of at the moment. It's him. Rabbits blurted out in shock. Boss, what do you mean? All of this was caused by this brat. How is this possible? The 4 pirates who followed Rabbits all showed their panic and emotions. Following Rabbit's gaze, they stared in shock at the immature and young figure holding a samurai sword less than 20 meters away from them. Grunt. The throats of several pirates rolled, and they couldn't help swallowing. Obediently. Real or fake? In an instant, the culprit of more than 300 companions. Actually, it's this 6 or 7-year-old kid. Is it possible? How can this kid, at this age, master such a terrifying method? It's too unacceptable. Their heads were buzzing, and their thinking still seemed extremely chaotic. Also, what kind of terrifying ability is this kind of method that kills everyone in an instant? Countless questions lingered in their minds. Let them be puzzled. But these did not affect their fear and attention to Layfon standing in the middle of the deck in front of them. This moment, they are finally, really paying attention to this child who suddenly boarded their pirate ship. Also finally understand. Didn't their pirate ship come with a dead hostage? Instead, a monster with strange means and mysterious and terrifying strength. A terrifying existence that could kill 99% of their entire ship in an instant. But alas, by the time they realize this, it's already too late. I overheard it just now. Are you saying that there is a huge difference in the number of people between you and me? So, now, holding a katana, Layfon stepped over the bodies of the fainted and unconscious pirates step by step, stepping on the bodies of these fainted pirates, and was constantly approaching rabbits. After a short observation just now, he has clearly understood. Who is the captain of this pirate ship? Chapter 52 is the psychological quality of the pirate offering hundreds of millions of rewards so poor. Open black lens bracket 1/15 seeking first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Quote / quote. Rabbit stared at Layfon tightly, not daring to move his eyes. His face was full of vigilance and fear, and he clenched his fists, revealing the panic in his heart. Although I don't know the exact strength of Layfon. But obviously, since the other party was able to do it strangely, in a split second just now, more than 300 people's terrifying feat. From this it can be inferred with certainty. The opponent's strength is definitely not simple. Plus, Marine has no reason to send someone to die. Until now, only then did rabbits understand that Marine's intentions are sinister. Not to send people to die, but to send people to send them to die. Even though he already knew the ins and outs of the matter, Rabbit still couldn't imagine that a kid who was only 6 or 7 years old actually controlled the terrible methods just now. It's incredible. You did what happened just now. Rabbits took a deep breath, suppressing the strength in his heart. They are really too noisy. I will help you to quiet them down for a while. I think you should have no objection to 047, right? Besides, in this way, as I guessed before, I really went smoothly. I found you. The captain of the White Bear Pirates, the big pirate with a bounty of 110 million berry, White Bear Rabbits. Layfon looked at Rabbits with a smile. This method is indeed very effective. Not only let those annoying guys lie down, it also allows him to identify who is the captain of the White Bear Pirates at the fastest speed. Before and after, only a few seconds passed. Conquerors, sure enough, is a good thing. It really is you. Rabbits' face was full of caution, and his shocking emotions could not be cooled in a short time. A 6 or 7-year-old kid. But it did, the weird behavior just now. All of this had to be treated with caution. Although the other party is only 6 or 7 years old. But everything the other party did was beyond what a 6 or 7-year-old child could do. If he was treated with a normal mentality, Rabbits felt that he might die a miserable death. Marine, you really are a group of insidious and despicable guys. Did not expect. This little ghost sent here has such terrifying strength and means. You, what did you do to them? Standing beside Rabbits, several pirates looked at Layfon in fear. Their foreheads are still buzzing to this day. What just happened? Can't fathom. They can't think of a reason at all. Just feel. This kind of thing happened too weirdly. What kind of power can kill hundreds of people in an instant? This is too exaggerated. Their knowledge and experience limit their thinking. In any case, it is hard for them to imagine what caused such a weird thing. Don't worry, just let them sleep quietly for a while. But speaking of it, do you still have time to worry about others? Now you should be worried. It's not them, it's yourselves. Layfon smiled. Be careful. Advertisement. This brat is terrifying. Rabbits' earnest opponent issued a warning. Even though he was a big pirate with a bounty of hundreds of millions, facing all the current events, he didn't dare to treat Layfon carelessly. Okay, it's time to send you on your way. Layfon twisted his arm, and slowly raised the warrior wand in his hand. The golden sun was shining from the sky, and the blade reflected a little light on Wang's sharp blade, which was incomparably dazzling. Moment. Layfon made a move. The speed is so fast that it is impossible to react. In situ, leaving only an afterimage. Boom. Layfon kicked his feet and the figure disappeared. So fast. Disappeared. Rabbits' face was full of shock, his eyes turned wildly, trying to catch Layfon's figure. Next second. Puff. A cloud of blood mist flew all over the sky. The head of a pirate rolled on the deck. Blood spurts. Bloodline spilled on Rabbits' back, making his hair stand on end. Fear. Unparalleled fear swept his body. Thump. A pirate fell. This is a headless corpse. Dead. Dead. The 3 surviving pirates looked horrified, looking palely at the corpse lying on the ground. None of them responded. Do not, even. They couldn't see clearly what happened just now. One face to face, one of them died. Until the moment the body fell down. They just noticed. Between them, someone died. Too fast. Too fast for them to react. Okay, so scary. This guy is a monster. The surviving pirates trembled with fear on their faces. Their faces have been completely filled with a strong color of fear. Obviously, their mentality has seriously collapsed. For a moment, I was relieved. This makes them, how can they have the courage to face this monster? The difference in strength is too great. They couldn't even see the figure clearly. What about people? Rabbits clenched his fists tightly, his forehead sweating profusely. No doubt. Advertisement. He can be 100% sure. This is the first time he has faced such a terrifying opponent. Although, the other party is only 6 or 7 years old. But this strength made even Rabiz feel deeply hopeless. Can't be shaken. Does a 6 or 7-year-old kid have such terrifying strength? Marine, how on earth did these bastards breed such a monster? He's only 6 or 7 years old. Rabbits couldn't help but let out a hysterical growl in his heart. A 6 or 7-year-old kid actually controls such a terrifying level of strength. How do they live? Puff. Another cloud of blood splattered. Thump. A pirate fell again. A head, tumbling in midair, presented a parabola in front of Rabbit's eyes, and finally fell to the corner of the deck fence not far away, and tumbling several times before it stopped. The pungent smell of blood wafted into the air. I can't even see where he is. How to fight this? Rabbits was horrified to perceive this fact. The emotion of fear took root in his heart, but it was quickly magnified infinitely. As if he is alone, in a dark lair where he can't see his fingers. He is the only one standing here alone, completely unable to see any surrounding environment. In this situation, the moment when there is a ray of fear in my heart. That means, it will not be too far away from being completely dominated by the emotions of fear. Puff, puff, 2 corpses were born one after another. Of the huge pirate ship, only Rabbits is still standing. The other 4 pirates who were lucky enough not to lose consciousness under the impact of the conquerors were all instantly killed in less than 10 seconds. No ability to resist, even. They couldn't even see Layfon's figure, and their heads were separated. Little devil, get lousy out. Rabbit's mentality 3.6 has broken down. He clenched his fists tightly and frantically waved his fists around, as if venting his inner fear, more like psychologically comforting himself. Anyway, you are also a great pirate with a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry. Psychological quality, so poor. It was an eye-opener for me. With a smile on his face, Layfon appeared less than 5 meters in front of Rabbits. He was holding a sharp samurai sword in his hand, the blade was already stained with blood, and the entire blade was completely soaked in bright red bloodline. $5. A knife just out of the pool of blood. Tick. Blood, slipping from the blade, fell on the deck beneath his feet. The pungent smell of blood quickly merged into the surrounding air, drifting with the wind, wandering in all directions. At this time, Layfon, holding a blood-stained samurai sword, is only 7 years old. But it gave the great pirate Rabbits, who had a bounty of hundreds of millions of berries, an endless sense of oppression. Chapter 53. One person easily destroys the White Bear Pirates. Open black lens bracket 2/15 seeking first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Pressure. The endless sense of oppression squeezed every cell in Rabbits' body. He subconsciously took a few steps back, his eyes filled with horror, fixed on Layfon in front of him, his face was pale and bloodless. The sea breeze blows gently. The pungent smell of blood floated into his sense of smell. Fear dominates Labby's body and mind. Exclamation mark. Blood slipped from the blade of the katana in Layfon's hand and fell on the deck, and the splashed bloodline quickly spread across the deck, making it look extraordinarily monstrous. You, what kind of monster are you? Rabbit stared at Layfon closely, looking extraordinarily frightened. The great pirate who offered a bounty of 110 million berry, but at this moment when facing Layfon in front of him, he felt endless fear filling his heart. Too strong. This is the first time Rabbits has faced an existence so powerful. The scary thing is, the other party is still a kid who is only 6 or 7 years old. Is there a reward of hundreds of millions of berry? This is subversive. I have the impression of some pirates with a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry. Can't imagine that the pirates with hundreds of millions of berry are also so good. Layfon smiled and shook his head. Not too many words. He slowly raised the samurai sword in his hand. Sharp blade, flashing cold light. Bloodline, flowing down from the blade, revealing some lines on the blade. Cold, biting coldness permeated Rabbit's body. Live my life, everything is easy to talk about. Rabbit panicked. He hastened to beg Layfon for mercy. Layfon is too strong. Although he was young, Rabbits did not have any thoughts of resistance at all. Powerful, it directly defeated Rabbits' mentality. How humble. This is the pirate with a bounty of hundreds of millions. It's disappointing enough. Layfon waved his hand and took a step 14 towards Rabbits. Don't. Rabbit took a step back. Until. His back leaned against the deck rail. There is no way back. There is no escape. Rabbits raised his head, his eyes were full of deep fear, and he stared at Layfon in front of him, unable to hide the panic in his heart, his body trembling. All the people under his hands, except those who fainted, are all dead. He is left alone. This moment, Rabbits really realized it. Marine sent a kid aboard their entire pirate ship, what does it mean? This is not sending hostages. Not to send people to seek death. A monster has been sent. A monster that can easily wipe out their entire pirate group. Layfon is too strong. Just these strengths displayed made Rabbits feel deeply panicked. I can't even see Layfon's murderous movements clearly. How can Rabbits fight back? How can I resist? Rabbits couldn't have dreamed of it. Someday. He actually felt boundless despair from a 6 or 7-year-old child. A child of 6 or 7 years old actually endowed him with endless sense of fear. This was something Rabbits never expected. How can a 6 or 7-year-old child have such a terrifying level of strength? Marine, those damn guys, what kind of training did they give this monster? It's unscientific to be so strong at this age. Rabbits almost fell into a state of deep doubt about life. He seriously doubts it. He lives in this world, isn't he here to make up the numbers? By contrast, he has lived his whole life in vain. For a 6 or 7-year-old child, it is completely crushed in terms of strength. This ship has a lot of wealth, which I have accumulated over the years, and I can give them all to you. As long as you live with me. Rabbits is still trying to find life. Pity. Layfon didn't hear it to heart. Seeing. Layfon kept approaching, and Rabbits' mentality finally collapsed. Quote. In that case, then you will die for lousy. Advertisement. Rabbits' eyes were full of killing intent, trying to make a dying counterattack. He clenches his fists and lunges forward at Layfon. It's too late to say it. In an instant, Rabbits was already standing in front of him. In contrast to the two figures, one big and one small, Layfon looks extraordinarily small. The huge fist was swung by Rabbits and slammed down on Layfon's head. Near. It's getting closer. It can be done. Rabbits' eyes flashed, and his excited expression flashed across. Unexpectedly. That moment, the knife flashes. Puff. Blood spattered. What? Rabbits screamed and wailed in pain, and his entire arm was cut off. The arm showed a parabola and fell on the deck not far away, a few meters away. Blood, gushing from hands. What? The tingling pain spread all over his body. Rabbits howled in pain. The veins on his forehead popped out, his face flushed, bloodline had already soaked his clothes completely. Lifting the samurai sword in his hand, Layfon smiled. It's time to send you on your way. Do not. Rabbit yelled in fear. Did not wait for his reaction. The samurai sword in Layfon's hand fell slowly. Sharp blades cut through the sky. The sound of breaking the air just sounded. Rabbits could only watch helplessly as the blade kept approaching, aiming at his neck. Fear magnified infinitely from his pupils. Puff. Warm up. The blade slashed across, blood spattered and scattered in all directions. A head rolled in the air, and finally fell slowly on the deck and rolled several times before it stopped. Thump. A headless corpse just fell to the ground. The breath of life is gone. Rabbit was dead. A so-called big pirate with a bounty of 110 million berry was easily killed by Layfon. The former has no resistance at all. The bounty of 110 million berry is quite enough. Layfon quietly glanced at the headless corpse lying on the ground, and couldn't help shaking his head with a slightly disappointed tone. A pirate with a bounty of 100 million berry. That's it. Is it only to this extent? That was quite disappointing. X35J. Weak. Let Layfon feel a little bit unmotivated. Rabbits was beaten in seconds, but Layfon didn't get too emotionally disturbed. The blade in his hand was finally stained with human life and blood. These, too, did not make Layfon feel too much mood swings. *5#. Like killing a chicken. No psychological burden on Layfon. I can't tell, but I do have the psychological quality to be an executioner. Or, the blood flowing in my bones hides the belligerent factor. Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly, and whispered to himself with a smile. Looked up. He glanced around, carefully observed the overall structure of the entire pirate ship's hull, and then looked at the bodies of the many pirates lying on the ground. Next. These guys, how should we deal with them? Kill, or capture them all, Layfon thought to himself. Think twice. Finally, Layfon's eyes twinkled. HT. Kill these guys all. So, holding the samurai sword in his hand, with a smile on his face, Layfon stepped towards the area where the pirates were lying on the ground. 2 minutes later. Pirate ship. Deck. Corpse. There are dead bodies everywhere. Advertisement. Blood, flowing and overflowing from the corpse, infected the deck surface of the entire ship. The pungent and strong smell of blood filled the air in this area, lingered in the air all the time, and could not disappear with the sea breeze. This bloody smell is too strong, and the sea breeze can hardly blow it away in a short time. The deck here is like a river of blood. Apart from the blood, only the corpse remained. Tick, tick, bloodline, dropped from the katana in Layfon's hand. There are less than 100 left, try to solve them within a minute. Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly. At this time, many pirates have gradually recovered their self-awareness from the aftermath of Layfon's conqueror's haki just now, waking up from the coma. Just opened my eyes. They saw it. This is like a nightmare horror scene. Dead bodies everywhere. Dead bodies are everywhere. A river of blood. The whole world seems to have turned into black and white. Even their bodies were splashed with a lot of bloodline, and the pungent smell of blood rushed to their faces, filling their sense of smell, making them almost unable to breathe. The strong smell of blood made their stomachs surge with acid and they vomited repeatedly. This is hell. Dead, all dead. Just now, I seem to have seen the captain's body, whose head was cut off. My God, in the end what happened? Who can explain to me what's going on? Just after waking up, they were faced with corpses all over the place, which made the surviving pirates completely unstoppable, showing extreme fear in their hearts. Panic boils. The scene in front of me is 387. It's like hell for them. And in this hellish environment, in the pile of corpses stood a young figure holding a samurai sword. Attention. Dazzling. It became the source of fear in the hearts of everyone present. Now, this young figure with a samurai sword was slowly walking towards them, like a shinigami harvesting life, the blade in his hand was still falling crazily to bloodline. Yes, it's him. That brat. The kid sent by Marine to log on to our pirate ship. He is the culprit who killed our captain and wholly light our crew. How can that be? How old is he? How could he possess such terrifying strength? Someone discovered Layfon's identity. Likewise, they noticed it too. The reason why the entire pirate ship is so terrifying and messy is Layfon, who is only 6 or 7 years old in their eyes. They were horrified by this. Incredible. Subvert cognition. Looked up. Layfon looked surprised, looking at the group of pirates who woke up from their dreams one after another. It is not difficult to judge. Apparently, the effect of Conqueror's Haki has passed. But it doesn't matter anymore. Anyway, even if these guys are all awake, they won't cause any interference to the result. Think about it. A smile appeared on Layfon's face. Everyone, how are you? Words fell. The surviving pirates were terrified, their bodies trembling, and their eyes were full of fear. At this time, Layfon was holding a blood-stained samurai sword. Escape. Run away. That's a monster. No, he's a terrible devil. The pirates who reacted tried to jump into the sea in panic to escape this terrifying place like a nightmare. Soon, a minute passed. The deck of the pirate ship is full of corpses. No one maintained a standing posture anymore, and all lay on the ground, reduced to cold corpses. There was only Layfon, standing on the edge of the deck rail with a katana. The entire ship is now the only living person. Can be declared from now on. The White Bear pirates officially ushered in the fate of being wiped out. By Layfon alone, all of them were easily wiped out. Chapter 54 Mr. Layfon, you are so strong. Open black lens bracket 3/15 first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. The sea breeze blows gently. The pungent and strong smell of blood floated above this area along with the sea breeze, and it never dissipated, wrapping around the head of the entire pirate ship. Deck. The hideous corpses were placed in different corners in a disorderly manner. Dead bodies are everywhere. Blood flowed like a river. The bloody smell blown away by the sea breeze was quickly lifted by the pungent bloody smell from below, filling the air in this area, and it could never be completely extinct. The skeleton pirate flag hanging high and on the sail is extremely conspicuous, but it seems that even the sail has been stained with a lot of splashed bloodline, and the red is a bit conspicuous. The White Bear pirates were wiped out. A pirate group headed by a big pirate with a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry, ushered in the fate of destruction today. The cumulative bounty of the entire pirate group is as high as more than 200 million square meters. On the Grand Line, the overall strength of the White Bear pirates is definitely not at the bottom, it can already be said to be at the upper middle level. But still didn't expect it. Even the White Bear pirates, who are at the upper level of the Grand Line, will perish in this sea area. Moreover, the reason for the collapse of the entire pirate group was only because of one person. A child who was only 7 years old. One person can wipe out the entire White Bear pirates. If this spreads, no one will dare to believe it. Even the crew members of the White Bear pirates, before they died, were so shocked by this incident that they found it difficult to accept it. Die with peace. They didn't respond until they died. In the end, the culprit who wiped them out turned out to be a kid who was sent by Marine to send him to death, in their eyes. Crash. The sea breeze blows the waves, and the sea surface ripples and ripples. The pirate ship shook slightly on the sea surface. Tick. Bloodline, slipping from the sharp katana. The samurai sword seemed to have just been taken out of the pool of blood. The blood on the entire blade was tightly wrapped around it, and it slid down the tip of the knife, and finally fell on the deck of the ship. Less than 5 minutes. Easy to solve the battle. Layfon was on the deck fence, looking back at the corpses strewn all over the front. It was only 5 minutes before and after. He ended the fight. Too fast. Who would have thought? It took Layfon less than 5 minutes to reach this large pirate group with a cumulative bounty of 200 million berry. Those who don't know may think, what Layfon got rid of was just an inconspicuous small pirate group. During the whole process, Layfon did not suffer any injuries. And this is what makes Layfon deeply boring. Anyway, what he met was also a big pirate with a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry. He didn't expect the other party to be so weak, and he was really disappointed. I thought, this time, I can start a fierce life and death fight with a pirate with good strength. Unexpectedly, this pirate with a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry was so indiscriminate that Layfon gave it to him in seconds. This made Layfon slightly change his impression of the pirates who offered a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry. Offer a reward of hundreds of millions of berry. That's it. Not that Layfon is exaggerating. At this level, he can at least deal with 5 at once. The rest of the matter will be handed over to other people. I didn't expect this matter to be so easy. I didn't even take it seriously, and it was over. The so-called big pirate with hundreds of millions of berry seems to be nothing more than that. Next time, if there is a chance, I have to find a big pirate with a bounty close to 200 million berry. This will be even more challenging. Layfon's eyes twinkled. Turn. He faced the warship not far away and recruited people. The battle is over. Naturally, he doesn't need to stay here any longer. As for the mess left on the scene, naturally, Marine soldiers will be responsible for dealing with these messes, and there is no need for Layfon to solve them himself. Not long. The warship got Layfon's instructions and sailed quickly to approach. Advertisement. Finally, the warship docked next to the pirate ship. At the same time, on the deck of the warship, the group of elite Marines who were ready to go and waited for orders finally got their wish to see the battle situation on the pirate ship. As soon as they saw the current situation of the pirate ship, they were stunned on the spot. Silence. The atmosphere has become extraordinarily weird. One word to describe the scene of the pirate ship. Awful. It's too tragic. Simply shocking. A group of Marine elites were full of horror and shock, looking at the mess on the pirate ship with wide-eyed eyes. All of a sudden, they only felt the scalp tingling and the hair standing on end. Do not know why. They suddenly feel sad for these pirates. Want to come. These pirates must have been dominated by boundless despair and fear during their lifetime. This is simply Surah hell. A terrified voice came from the Marine group. Even many people have experienced fighting with pirates many times. But the scene they are seeing now still shocks their hearts. Hundreds of pirates are all dead. This scene, even some old Marines who have experienced many battles have to express their emotions and fear. See here. They can basically come to a conclusion. The White Bear pirates, from today onwards, will be completely removed from this sea. A pirate group composed of big pirates with a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry, a large pirate group with a cumulative bounty of up to 200 million berry. Today, thus ushered in the death. All dead. The terrifying scene in front of him undoubtedly created an unparalleled sense of strong visual impact compared to the two novices, Belumbo. They have never met such a terrible and bloody battlefield. All members of the White Bear pirates, without exception, all are obliterated. The White Bear pirates were wiped out. Belumbo's lips trembled. Strictly speaking, it was wiped out by a group of one. Kebi's throat rolled, and he couldn't help swallowing to supplement. Exclamation mark. Killed by one person. The entire White Bear pirates were easily wiped out by Layfon alone. Mr. Layfon, is it so powerful? Even if you break into this large pirate group alone, and face a big pirate with a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry, can you still win so easily? It even took less than 5 minutes to destroy a large pirate group. This is so shocking. A group of Marines showed shocking emotional waves. Just under 5 minutes, the White Bear pirates were easily wiped out. They even wondered if they had a wrong memory. Could it be? Isn't the captain of the White Bear pirates the big pirate with a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry? Why was it resolved so easily? Apparently, Layfon was completely unscathed. This whole pirate group can't even shake Layfon. This is incredible. From today, there is no more White Bear pirates in this sea. Advertisement. Mr. Layfon, it's scary to be strong. All are unpredictable. This battle will end so quickly. Even more unexpected. It took less than 5 minutes for Layfon to deal with the White Bear pirates with ease. At first, they expressed deep suspicion and concern about Layfon's behavior of breaking into the base camp of the White Bear pirates alone. You can see the result. They understood. Why are Vice Admiral Garp and Colonel Pocato so confident? Emotion. Layfon, the egg size is so scary. No doubt. This battle once again refreshed their perception of Layfon's strength. Layfon won, unscathed. It's so easy. It takes only 5 minutes for one person to easily destroy the White Bear pirates. Seeing the tragic appearance of all members of the White Bear pirates destroyed, the scene of corpses strewn all over the place shocked the visual and psychological endurance of many Marines present. Let them dare not imagine. This is actually done by a child who is only 7 years old. What kind of terrifying strength is this? What a terrifying psychological quality. This moment, they couldn't help but wonder. Layfon, is it really the first time to experience fighting pirates? But why does he behave like a Marine soldier who has already fought compared to them all? When dealing with these pirates, there is absolutely no hold back. Otherwise, it is impossible for all the more than 300 pirates to be wiped out, leaving no one behind. All of them were reduced to cold corpses, which were placed in different corners of the pirate ship in a disorderly manner, piled up like a mountain, and no one cared about them. Layfon's kindness moved many Marines present. Who dares to think? This is the psychological quality that she should have. Too ruthless. There is no soft-heartedness to speak of against the enemy. As long as there is even a trace of soft-heartedness, it is impossible to wipe out this group of pirates so simply and directly. It is even more impossible to end this battle directly in just 5 minutes. Only 7 years old. In less than 5 minutes, a group of pirates was easily wiped out. In addition, one person and one knife killed these more than 300 pirates almost in a massacre. Mr. Layfon, what a horrible existence. Zhao. After this battle, the awe of many Marines towards Lama became stronger. Whether it is strength, or heart, mental quality. In almost all aspects, Layfon has done impeccable. Let everyone can only catch up. It also made Kebi and Belum truly realize that the gap between them and Layfon is not only reflected in the disparity in strength. There are also Xing, psychological quality, etc. It can be said that in all aspects, they can only look up to Layfon's back. Can't wait. The Marines, who were still worried and suspicious about Layfon breaking into the pirates' stronghold by himself, were feeling a little dizzy at the moment. The messy picture on the pirate ship seemed to form a heavy object, hitting their heads hard, making their foreheads buzz. It's not Mr. Layfon that we should be worried about. It's about feeling pity for the pirates on the opposite side. They must have thought at first that we were sending a child to seek death. But in the end, they never expected it. What we sent them was 10 out and out terrifying monsters. A terrifying existence that can easily subvert their entire pirate group. All Marine can imagine. How drastic was the mentality change of those pirates at that time? Send to death. Really. But the exact meaning here is. Send them all the White Bear pirates to die. Chapter 55 The Sixth Sign In, Reward Marine 6 Styles. Open black lens bracket for 15th first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Successfully resolved. Holding the bloody katana, Layfon took a step forward, jumped off the pirate ship smoothly, and returned to the edge of the warship's deck fence. Return to the deck of the warship. Oncoming, a pair of awe-filled eyes fixed on Layfon's body. Hundreds of well-trained elite Marines, each holding sophisticated weapons and equipment, their eyes full of shock and fear, watched Layfon quietly. From beginning to end, none of them had a chance to make a move. They couldn't even imagine it. In 5 minutes, this battle will come to an end. Too fast. Before they could react, the battle was declared over. Also, the strength of Layfon is somewhat beyond their imagination. Alone, easily overthrew a large pirate group in 5 minutes. Who could have predicted this level of strength? In particular, Layfon's psychological quality made many Marines who had experienced many battles present have to be moved by it. Obviously it was the first time to deal with pirates, but it gave them the feeling that Layfon seemed to have experienced the experience of fighting pirates thousands of times. Kill these pirates without any mercy. To know, Layfon is only 7 years old. Whether it is talent, or strength, still heart, in almost all aspects, Layfon amazed and admired all the Marines present. The sea breeze blows gently. The pungent and strong smell of blood spreads from the pirate ship, lingers around the warship, and floats into the senses of all Marines. Many of the Marines were pale, almost wanting to gag. Including Kebi and Belumbo, they are one of the people who are trying to vomit. Okay. Garp glanced at the mess on the pirate ship, looked at Layfon with a weird face, and then ordered to Marine beside 103, "You guys, go and clean up the battlefield quickly." Even Garp didn't expect his grandson Layfon to be so ruthless. Good guy. This method has no mercy at all. With one shot, the entire pirate group was wiped out. The 300 or 400 pirates in the big pirate group were all killed by Layfon alone, and there was no one left. Not a single pirate survived. This brat, born to be this material. Fortunately, I pulled him to Marine's side ahead of time. Otherwise, if this brat is led astray by other people and becomes some kind of pirate, then in the near future, Marine will face a terrifying nightmare monster. Garp thought with some fear. No doubt, if Layfon becomes a pirate, it won't take long for Layfon to become a nightmare for all Marines. Just thought of, Marine had to face this kind of existence with almost impeccable talent, strength, and temperament, and Garp couldn't help but feel a little moved in his heart. So far so good. This kid was dragged to Marine's side by himself. Clean the battlefield. Pakuto repeated Garp's order. He also just recovered from the shock. Then, a group of Marines boarded the pirate ship one after another, quickly cleaned the battlefield, and collected many loot from the pirate ship. Naturally, there is no need for a Marine officer like Pakuto to do these tedious things by himself. Now, Pakuto looked at Layfon's eyes, also full of amazement. Fine, he's the grandson of Vice Admiral Garp. Zikatuo felt rejoiced in his heart. If this kind of monster goes astray and goes to the pirates. Pakuto didn't even dare to imagine what a terrifying enemy Marine would have to face in the future. Little devil, clean your BEBD knife before you get blood all over the deck of the warship. Advertisement. Garp looked at the blood dripping from the samurai sword in Layfon's hand, and couldn't help but speak. Almost forgot. Layfon smiled, with a wave of his right hand. The bloodline, which was stained with the blade in his hand, was thrown directly to the nearby sea by him. A large piece of bloodline slipped from the blade and merged into the sea. He casually used a white cotton cloth handed over by a Marine soldier, and wiped the blade of the samurai sword in his hand, and all the bloodline was absorbed. In a blink of an eye, the samurai sword changed back to its original appearance. It's just a sharp blade, but it seems to add a strange color. With a touch of scarlet. It seems that the blood has been completely integrated into the blade, adding some strange atmosphere for no reason, and the blade will emit a faint smell of blood from time to time. Not long. Under Bokuto's order, the Marine soldiers quickly cleaned the battlefield, and carried all the spoils of the pirate ship back to the warehouse of the warship. To make sure no spoils fell, Pakuto immediately ordered the Marines to check the warships. The last Marine left, stepped out of the pirate ship, and returned to the warship. At last, Pakuto personally lit a fire and threw it directly at the pirate ship. Boom. The raging fire burned violently on Tien Pirate's ship. Flames are everywhere. White smoke curled up, entangled in the air above this party's head. The fire ravaged the pirate ship. The pirate flag hanging high in the sky has been completely burned by the flames, turning into ashes and falling from the sky. As the sea breeze blew and rolled, the ashes fell into the nearby sea area, and quickly merged into the sea water, disappearing without a trace in an instant. The raging fire burned the entire pirate ship, making the hull scorched black, and the structure of the hull collapsed and ruptured, and many wreckages fell into the Quartet Sea. The golden flames shone on the warship next to it. Set sail. Target, the capital of 7 waters. Pakuto immediately raised his arms and shouted the order loudly. The warship sails again. Under the control of the helmsman, coupled with the guidance of the navigator, the entire warship immediately turned around and rushed to the sea area where there was no end in sight at the other end. Gradually, the warship disappeared, and remained in place. The fire was still burning the hull of the pirate ship. Judging by the extent of the flames, if nothing unexpected happens, the entire pirate ship will be completely reduced to ashes in a few hours, and will eventually sink into the sea. There is nothing in the 4 seas. Here, it has become extremely quiet. Crackling. Only the flames flickered, the hot flames were burning the pirate ship, there were bursts of piercing noises, and the sound of the hull collapsing. A battle broke out between Marines and pirates, and the curtain came to an end. Do not, strictly speaking, this is a battle between one person and a group of pirates. Should be called massacre. Layfon alone slaughtered the entire pirate group. Including the so-called big pirate who offered a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry, he was also the target of massacre by Layfon, and he didn't have any ability to resist from the beginning to the end. From the warship deck, all the way back to the room. Layfon has experienced numerous attention salutes from Marine. A pair of eyes full of awe and admiration kept watching Layfon's back disappearing at the end of the deck, and then he took his eyes back slowly. For a while, Layfon became the boss of the entire warship. Treat yourself like a boss. All of this is naturally obtained by Layfon in exchange for absolute strength. Only strength is what makes these Marines admire. And Layfon, who is only 7 years old, already has such a terrifying level of strength. It is normal to be admired and admired by this group of Marines. Back to the room, Layfon casually put the samurai sword in his hand aside, closed his eyes slightly, and began to recollect many details of the battle just now. Advertisement. The whole process is just seconds. Too boring. I'm still thinking about gaining more practical experience in life and death fighting in this battle. Unexpectedly, the so-called big pirate with a reward of 100 million berry is so weak. One knife, no mind. That's it. How dare you be worthy of the 100 million berry bounty? Layfon couldn't help shaking his head. However, after experiencing this battle, Layfon has a deeper understanding of his own strength. Emotion. Inadvertently, accidentally, my own strength is already so strong. He is no longer the weak chicken he used to be. Dealing with the so-called big pirate with a bounty of 100 million berry is not easy. Target. 200 million berry pirates. Layfon looked at the endless sea outside the window, his eyes sparkled with anticipation, and then. The next destination should be the capital of Seven Waters. I don't know how strong is my big brother Luffy, whom I have never met in name. It's really exciting. Time flies. The days of the sea are boring and boring. But it passed quickly. Another day. Early morning. A golden halo fell from the sky and shone into the window sill of the room. Light Madara shone, imprinted on the deck. Layfon opened his eyes, and his eyes turned from dim to sober. If I'm not mistaken, at this moment, it's time to sign in again. This is already 6th check-in. Another day full of hope. It would be nice to give yourself a little surprise when you sign in this time. Conquerors doesn't have to be without hockey. If it can improve my sword skills, or my strength, speed and other attributes, that's still very good. Conquerors, the effect is not very big anymore. Layfon thought to himself. Conquerors, the effect on him at present is not too great. By comparison, he is more inclined to be able to get some swordsmanship from the ability gift bag, or to increase strength and speed. Only these can make Layfon's strength go further. System. Check-in. With anticipation, Layfon began to meditate in his heart. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. The cumulative time of the detection system has reached 24 hours. Open black lens bracket. You can sign in. Please host to confirm again. Do you want to sign in? Close black lens bracket. Confirm. Layfon didn't hesitate. Familiar with operation as always. These processes, which he was already familiar with, could no longer be familiar with. As soon as Layfon's voice fell, the system's voice sounded again soon. Open black lens bracket. Sign in successfully. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you got the ability gift package for sign in reward. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Do you want to open the ability gift pack? Close black lens bracket. The process and steps have not changed at all. Layfon's eyes twinkled, and the sense of anticipation in his mood became more and more difficult. This time, what kind of ability can I unlock? Holding the many emotions in his heart, Layfon took a deep breath and thought. Open. Ability gift pack is opening. Open black lens bracket enabled. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you got Marine 6 styles from the ability gift pack. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 56 Marine 6 styles. Is it hard? Open black lens bracket 5/15 first order. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. The sound of the system soon sounded, lingering and buzzing in Layfon's mind. Layfon was a little taken aback. Immediately, the meaning of ecstasy wells up in my heart. This is indeed a big surprise. After signing in and opening the gift bag this time, I actually got such a power. What a surprise. Exceeded Layfon's expectations. EXXE. Marine 6 styles. For the current Layfon, Marine 6 styles can fully fill his vacancy in actual combat. This practical skill is really too convenient. In battle, Marine 6 styles are extremely useful. Marine 6 styles, a collection of offense, defense, dodge, air combat, melee combat, long-distance combat, etc. Almost all aspects of actual combat skills are integrated into this Marine 6 styles. Have to admit, Marine 6 styles is definitely the greatest practical skill in Marine for nearly 100 years. Its threshold does not need to be too high, everyone can practice. Once you succeed in cultivating it, your own strength will usher in an earth-shaking change. Therefore, Marine 6 styles has basically spread to every Vice Admiral. Every Vice Admiral has practical skills with pictures. The penetration rate in Marine is quite high. Before, I just had swordsmanship and conquerors. In the face of life and death fights, there is still a great lack of actual combat skills. These are not shortcomings that can be changed by swordsmanship attainments and proficient swordsmanship experience. Until Marine 6 styles, it's up. It can almost fill all the vacancies in my current combat skills. Melee, with finger pistol. Far War, Tempest Kick. Defense, Iron Body. Attack, Drama, Aerial Combat, Moonwalk. Dodge, Paper Arts. Layfon's eyes twinkled. So comprehensive. That's all he can say about Marine 6 styles. Anyone who has successfully cultivated Marine 6 styles can fill many gaps in actual combat, which can be said to be beyond doubt. If not, the importance of Marine 6 styles would not be as important as Marine. It is really all round, can fill and improve a person's fighting level. Only with a deeper understanding can we understand more deeply. Marine 6 styles, what a great creation. And the person who created it is Garp. This moment, Layfon couldn't help but express his deep admiration for the old man Garp. Amazing. It's really amazing to be able to create such practical skills as Marine 6 styles. Before Marine 6 styles, what I lacked was aggressive, offensive combat skills. Now with Marine 6 styles, Shaved can fill that gap for me. There is still an air battle. If you master Moonwalk, you will be able to conduct effective air combat. Layfon began to think in his mind. In general, there are only a few of them that have a greater effect on Layfon. The first is to Shave. Shaved can endow Layfon with terrifying speed in an instant, and launch the most effective means of attack on the enemy. It can also disappear in place in an instant at a critical moment so as to dodge the effective attack of the enemy. The second type is Moonwalk. Moonwalk, so that Layfon will not feel powerless in the face of air combat. As for the other four, there are 4 types: Iron Body, Tempest Kick, Finger Pistol, and Paper Arts. Strictly speaking, these 4 kinds of Layfon are basically not used, and they are rarely used. Tempest Kick and Finger Pistol, Layfon's sword skills can be fully replaced. As for Iron Body, unless Layfon is out of his mind, he can dodge the attack, why stand up and be hit by others? Advertisement. As for Paper Arts, this does have a little effect, but the effect will not be too great. By contrast, what Layfon pays more attention to is the 2 kinds of shaving and writing. The emphasis on Marine 6 styles was born after Layfon played against Pokato. After playing against Pokato, Layfon realized it more deeply. Marine 6 styles, how much can a person's strength be improved? If Layfon had mastered the Marine 6 styles at that time, it would definitely not be so difficult to deal with Pokato, and he could even defeat Pokato severely. And just 2 days ago, Layfon was also thinking about when he could learn Marine's actual combat skills like Colonel Pokato's Marine 6 styles. Never expected. Signing in this time actually allowed him to directly obtain Marine 6 styles. This will undoubtedly save a lot of time. There is no need to go step by step and learn Marine 6 styles of the cycle axis. Because, system, it will let Layfon get started instantly. You can directly get rid of the dazed feeling of just learning Marine 6 styles. However, the system directly let Layfon master this practical skill in an instant with the Enlightenment method. For the average person, learning Marine 6 styles takes a lot of time to get started. As the saying goes, all beginnings are hard. Learning Marine 6 styles also takes more time when getting started. If you really get started, if you want to continue to deepen your mastery of Marine 6 styles, you won't be as dazed as you were just getting started. But these cumbersome steps can be directly ignored in Layfon. Putting aside all the thoughts in his mind, Layfon carefully felt a warm current emerging from his body out of thin air, washing his body. At the same time, countless amount of knowledge flocked to Layfon's mind like a tide. The amount of memory, Shen Kong has countless more. And let Layfon's head spin wildly, to quickly absorb and digest these knowledge and memories. Moment. Layfon opened his eyes, their eyes sparkling with brilliance. Since then announced, Marine 6 styles, instant entry. Unexpectedly, Marine 6 styles is so simple. Layfon smiled. $5 hash. Innate instinct. Let him be completely free to cast. I no longer feel unfamiliar with Marine 6 styles, as if first have practiced Marine 6 styles for several months, or even a year, and have become extremely proficient. With the help of the system, Layfon easily crossed the threshold of Marine 6 styles. Effortless. It was only a few seconds before and after. System, bring up the properties panel. Layfon immediately checks its own attribute status. Open black lens bracket host. Layfon close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket power. 30 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket speed. 31 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical strength. 29 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket skills. Swordsmanship LV10, Conqueror's Hakill 4, Marine 6 styles IV1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket skill point. 0 close black lens bracket. Really, it did not exceed Layfon's expectations. Behind the skill panel, Marine 6 styles appeared out of thin air. Although there is only level IV1, it also means that Layfon has learned Marine 6 styles as a real entry level. The me now, if I fight against Colonel Pokato again. I think, although I may spend some energy and means. However, I am 80% sure that I can defeat Colonel Pokato. So, currently, my strength has vaguely surpassed Colonel Marine. Asking for flowers, Layfon's mood brightened. In the beginning, Pokato was still his target. But just a few days passed. Advertisement. Pokato has been easily surpassed by Feng. A day earlier, Layfon had tied with Pokato. But a day later. This moment, Layfon is 80% or even 90% confident that he can beat Pokato. That means, Layfon's strength has already vaguely stood above Colonel Marine. Above Colonel Marine, comes Marine Commodore, then Marine Rear Admiral, Marine Vice Admiral. My strength has reached the Marine Commodore. Layfon sighed with emotion. Strength grows too fast. This point surprised Layfon himself. From a rookie, he gradually transformed into a Marine Commodore level. This process only takes a few days. Who could have imagined this? Even Layfon himself was amazed by this. Almost forgot. I'm only 7 years old. Layfon, 7 years old, Marine Commodore. Layfon smiled. Yes, he is only 7 years old. A monster who is only 7 years old and whose strength has reached the Marine Commodore level. If this news gets out, who will believe it? The key is, I activated the system and it's only been a few days. The improvement of my strength is achieved by a huge leap in just a few days. If the old man Garp and Colonel Pocato know all this, how colorful their expressions will be. I can't help but look forward to it. Layfon suppressed many thoughts in his head. Push open the door. The sun shines from the sky, shining on his body through the door. The meaning of warmth flows slowly. The light Madara flickers and is imprinted on the deck. Crash. In the Azure Sea area, the surface of the sea is swaying with the blowing of the sea breeze, and waves of ripples are rippling, sweeping in all directions, and ripples are surging round after round. The entire warship was sailing at a constant speed, very stable, without any feeling of shaking. After walking out of the room, Layfon came all the way to the deck. Can be seen clearly. Pocato seems to be teaching Kebi and Belumbo. I see. Both Kebi and Belumbo looked humbly obeying the teachings. Directly in front of them, Pocato looked serious and serious. When he saw Layfon's figure, Pocato looked sideways and a smile appeared on his face. Layfon, you came just in time. I was going to ask someone to call you just now, but I didn't expect you to come by yourself. Colonel Pocato, what are you? Layfon came step by step. Colonel Pocato, teaching us Marine 6 styles. Belumbo was the first to answer with excitement. Aside, Kebi also showed a look of excitement and anticipation. For learning Marine 6 styles, the two have obviously been looking forward to it for a long time. Marine 6 styles. Layfon froze for a moment. That's right. Since you're here, you should also be included. Marine 6 styles is also a very indispensable practical skill for you, and it can improve your strength in all aspects. Let your strength rise to a higher level. Pocato introduced with a smile on his face. Layfon didn't know how to speak for a moment. What's wrong? Aware of Layfon's strange expression, Pocato asked proactively. Nothing, I just wanted to ask. Colonel Pocato. Marine 6 styles, is it hard to learn? Layfon looked at Pocatogan with a strange expression on his face. Chapter 57 I said I have learned it, do you believe it? Open black lens bracket 6/15 first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. As Marine 6 styles hard to learn. Pocato's expression became a little weird, and he took a deep look at Layfon. He couldn't figure it out. Alright, Layfon asks what do these do? Is Marine 6 styles hard to learn? This question can't help but remind Pocato. Think back to those days. When he was learning Marine 6 styles by himself, he was trained hard by the instructor in those miserable days. Basically, everyday training is a torture. Rao is so. It took Pocato half a year to barely learn Marine 6 styles. Under the torture-like training every day, and there is an excellent instructor to teach, it still takes half an eye to spend half an eye on the echo card. Then, the instructor who taught Pocato Marine 6 styles was Admiral Zephyr of old. With such an excellent instructor, Pocato still couldn't fully learn Marine 6 styles to the point of entry in a short period of time. Therefore, when asked this question by Layfon, Pocato fell into the memory of the miserable experience that year. Is it difficult to learn? This is not nonsense. Of course it is difficult. If it wasn't difficult, why did it take him half a year to barely get started? 493, Pocato remembers deeply. It took him half a year to learn Marine 6 styles. Among that group of students, his grades were still at the upper middle level. It can be seen from this. Marine 6 styles is really not so simple to be able to fully grasp and reach the entry level. Certainly, naturally, Pocato couldn't say these words so bluntly. In this way, wouldn't it be defeated on the spot? The two little guys, Kebi and Belumbo, are full of positive attitudes. Be tactful, kindness, good, be sure to be tactful about these things. Of course not so straightforward. This will seriously hit the positive progress of Kebi and Berumeber. If Kebi and Berumeber are depressed and lose that positive attitude, it will be even more difficult to learn Marine 6 styles. Interest is the best teacher. Pocato still has a deep understanding of these words. Layfon, as the saying goes, everything is difficult at the beginning. It is difficult to learn anything at the beginning. Not to mention, the most refined and practical combat skills like Marine 6 styles. But when you step into the threshold, you will find that the effort is very worthwhile. At that time, if you want to continue to deepen the practice of Marine 6 styles, it will become easier. Don't underestimate Marine 6 styles, you know, its role in actual combat is quite great. Even if it is difficult in the early stage, once you learn it, it will have a great effect on your life. In combat, its actual combat skills in all aspects are the most comprehensive. Of all the practical skills I've seen in my life, only Marine 6 styles has all-round advantages and fills in everyone's own shortcomings. Pokato did not state whether Marine 6 styles is difficult to learn, but introduced the practicality of Marine 6 styles in detail. This immediately made the eyes of Kebi and Belumbo next to them sparkle, their expressions were excited, their faces flushed, and they seemed to be full of blood. That's right, they are about to learn such high-end combat skills. At that time, they believe, one's own strength will definitely usher in a huge improvement and transformation. Advertisement. Young people, always be unafraid of challenges. Only by facing the challenges head-on, can we really overcome these difficulties and get rich harvests. Marine 6 styles combines offense, defense, dodge, air combat, close combat, and long-distance combat. I can say with certainty that there is no actual combat skill in this sea that can be compared with Marine 6 styles. There is no actual combat skill that is more comprehensive than Marine 6 styles. Pokato made a confident statement. Really, Layfon fully agrees with this point. Marine 6 styles is so comprehensive. It can almost fill in all the flaws in one person's battle. Not enough melee. Marine 6 styles has melee. Insufficient combat. Marine 6 styles also has far combat. Almost all aspects of combat are included in Marine 6 styles. And this is the most valuable part of Marine 6 styles. It is also the reason why it can become the greatest fighting technique of Marine for hundreds of years. No one can deny that Marine 6 styles has changed Marine. In recent years, as more and more Marines practice Marine 6 styles, more and more powerful Marines are born. To be precise, as long as Marine 6 styles meets the entry standard, then it can be said that he has already possessed a certain level of strength in this sea. Marine 6 styles has become a compulsory course for everyone in the middle class of Marine. Colonel Pokato, I understand what you're saying. Layfon coughed dryly and interrupted Pokato. Now that you understand, it will be easier to handle. Pokato patted Layfon's shoulder earnestly. You join Kebi and Baru Meber together, and listen to me explaining to you slowly about how Marine 6 styles should be cultivated. 1. How should I adjust my mentality to get in touch with Marine 6 styles? I'll start from the most basic, and go all the way step by step. Make sure you don't have any incomprehensible links in the process. I will also try my best to let you learn Marine 6 styles in the shortest time. Kebi, Baru Meber, both of you are very talented. Learning Marine 6 styles will definitely increase your combat power by dozens of times. Therefore, you all have to be patient and listen to the lecture, keep your spirits up, and don't be negligent. Kebi and Belumbo, who were glanced at by Pokato, immediately raised their heads and chests, their faces were serious and expectant, and they showed great interest. Very good. Seeing this, Boka smiled. With the mentality of Kebi and Baru Meber, Pokato can initially conservatively estimate that within half a year, the two of them should be able to learn Marine 6 styles and truly meet the entry standard. First, I'll start with who founded Marine 6 styles. Pokato began his boring introduction. Marine 6 styles is a style created by Vice Admiral Garp's integration of countless practical skills. It is exclusive to our Marine Combat 15. Aside, Layfon couldn't help interrupting again. Colonel Pokato. Kindness. Pakato's words stopped abruptly, and he looked at Layfon with a strange look on his face. What? You think what I said was a bit too boring? It doesn't matter, I will talk about the important key points of Marine 6 styles later. Layfon, with your outstanding talent, I can tell. Within 1 month, you will definitely learn Marine 6 styles thoroughly. I still have great confidence in you. Pokato has long understood Layfon's terrifying talent. Ordinary people may need half a year, or even a year, to officially get started with Marine 6 styles. But if it is Layfon, then of course everything will be very different. Layfon is an anomaly. Advertisement. It's a monster. You can't look at it with the eyes of ordinary people. Therefore, Pokato has high hopes for Layfon, and only then does he think that Layfon can use just 1 month to completely grasp the real market of Marine 6 styles to the threshold of entry. 1 month. Kebi and Belumbo lost their eyesight. Immediately, they looked at Layfon with admiration and awe. As expected of Mr. Layfon, can you learn Marine 6 styles in a month? Colonel Pokato, how long did it take you to learn the basics of Marine 6 styles thoroughly? Kirby held back his curiosity and asked. Pokato coughed dryly. He couldn't help but think back. It took half a year to barely get the grades. What a shame. If you compare it with Layfon, then of course there is no comparison. Pokato is not yet blindly confident that his own talent can be compared with the monster like Layfon in front of him. But these words, of course, Pokato can't say it. Anyway. Also maintain the image of being an instructor. So, Pokato reprimanded Kebi angrily. Listen to the lecture carefully, don't ask about these things, it's not nutritious for you. Yes, Colonel Pokato. The two felt their hearts tightened, and quickly lowered their heads. Layfon, don't waste time. Pokato looked at Layfon beside him and frowned. No, Colonel Pokato, let me finish my sentence first. Layfon looked helpless. Okay, what do you want to say? You shouldn't be thinking, can you make your Marine 6 styles reach the entry-level standard in 3.6 within a week? Pokato looked at Layfon suspiciously. Not to mention. Based on his understanding of Layfon, it is really possible that the other party has such an unbelievable idea. A week? What are you thinking? Pokato couldn't help complaining in his heart. It took him half a year. Layfon still thinking about a week. Even with the monster's talent, it's impossible to do this, right? Not these. Layfon looked at Pocato with weird eyes. Colonel Pocato, what I'm going to say next may be difficult for you to accept, so you should be mentally prepared. He was really worried. Colonel Pocato will be a little overwhelmed later. You can rest assured that as a professional and qualified Marine Colonel, no matter how exaggerated the things you say, I will not be easily frightened by you. So, it doesn't matter if you say it. My psychological endurance is definitely beyond your imagination. Pocato waved his hand, his expression seemed calm. Heard the words. Layfon spoke in a strange tone. Actually, Colonel Pocato, if I say that first have learned Marine 6 styles, would you believe me? Chapter 58 I'm actually cheating. But I can't tell. Open black lens bracket 7/15 first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. The sea breeze blows gently. The atmosphere is weird. Deck. After listening to Layfon's words, Pocato's expression was a little stunned, and his thinking seemed to be a little stiff. A pair of pupils stared at Layfon in front of him blankly. Hallucination. Myself. Did I have an auditory hallucination just now? Rubbing his ears, Pocato began to shake his head and laugh. Must be hallucinations. Layfon, kid, what did you just say? Say you've learned Marine 6 styles. How can that be? It seems that I am getting older, and I am so prone to auditory hallucinations. Stop it. Pocato waved his hand. I thought what you wanted to say, these are the feelings. Now calm down, and then join the queue, I will teach you the Marine 6 styles step by step. Obviously, Pocato didn't believe Layfon's words at all, so he showed a nonchalant expression. Learn Marine 6 styles. What a joke. Anyway, even if Layfon told the truth, Pocato would not believe what Layfon just said. What is wrong with learning at a young age, learning to lie? This is not a good habit. To change it in advance. Colonel Pocato, I always feel like you didn't catch me. Layfon had a strange expression, and then repeated again, I said, I have learned the Marine 6 styles. Now, do you understand it? The words fell. The atmosphere has become a little quiet. Kebi and Belumbo stared wide-eyed, looking at Layfon with horror and horror. As for Pocato, his expression was 14 stiff, and he couldn't express it for a while. What are you kidding? Even if it is exaggerated, there must be a limit. Pocato looked at Layfon and said angrily, then tell me, how did you learn Marine 6 styles? Don't tell me that you have been exposed to Marine 6 styles before, which is obviously impossible. Did Vice Admiral Garp teach you Marine 6 styles in the past few days? It's absolutely impossible, you learned it in just a few days. Furthermore, Vice Admiral Garp never mentioned to me what Marine 6 styles taught you. In other words, you have never been exposed to Marine 6 styles. Then here comes the problem. You who have never been exposed to Marine 6 styles, how can you learn Marine 6 styles? What kind of international joke are you making? Pocato's thinking is very clear. It was precisely because his thinking was unprecedentedly clear that he was so decisive and immediately rejected what Layfon said just now. Because these words are too shocking to the world. Layfon, who has never been exposed to Marine 6 styles, suddenly came to tell him that he suddenly learned Marine 6 styles. How can Pocato believe this kind of thing? How can you possibly learn when you have never been in contact with it? Self-taught. There is at least a limit to this. But Pocato was sure that Layfon had never touched Marine 6 styles. No matter how genius or monster he is, it is impossible for him to learn this fighting method so strangely and suddenly without even touching Marine 6 styles. The above ideas made it impossible for Pocato to accept what Feng just said. Just like a person who had never even seen a warship in his life suddenly ran up to him and told him that the other party would make a warship with the same hull structure. This is simply not realistic. I have never seen a warship before, you use a hammer to make the hull structure of a warship. This is similar to what Layfon said currently. Marine 6 styles you have never touched in your life. Where did you get the courage to say that you've learned the Marine 6 styles? Who gave you the courage? Anyway, these are questions that Pocato has been thinking about, and he can't figure it out. Tell me, you have never been exposed to Marine 6 styles, why can you suddenly master it? Can you tell me the exact reason? After taking a deep breath and forcing his mood to be calm and narrow, Pocato's expression became serious, he stared at Layfon, and questioned clearly. Advertisement. He must carefully pick out the contradictions and loopholes in the other party's words. Just from what Layfon said above, Pocato can pick out no less than 100 loopholes. Lying is not a good habit. He's gotta get Layfon to get over it. But on second thought, it seems understandable for a 7-year-old to exaggerate. It seems that I overlooked Layfon's age. I almost forgot that he is only 7 years old. He likes to exaggerate and brag about how great he is. Isn't that normal? Who didn't come from this age? When I was the same age, I was still peeing my crotch. And Layfon, a brat, is already on par with my mighty naval headquarters colonel. Thinking of these, Pocato's thoughts became open-minded. Why do you care about so much with a child? Kids like to brag, isn't it wrong? Almost forgot. Layfon, after all, is a 7-year-old child. Mr. Layfon, are you lying? Kebi and Berumeber suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. So far so good. They almost really thought that Fu Feng had mastered Marine 6 styles. This is too scary. But fortunately, just lying. None of this happened for real. Think here. The moods of Kebi and Berumeber eased slightly. They almost believed it. That horrifying speech that Layfon said. Mr. Layfon, your joke is not funny at all. Kebi squeezed out a smile, trying to ease the atmosphere here. Joke. Layfon's expression became more and more weird, and then he explained to Pakuto, Colonel Pakuto, I can completely explain all this. Do you still remember the fight with you yesterday? Heard the words. Pakuto nodded unquestionably. Of course. Did you use Marine 6 styles during the battle? Certainly. In this way, the question will be solved. Layfon looked odd. The sound just fell, visible to the naked eye. Pakuto's pupils are infinitely dilated, looking at Layfon with horror and suspicion on his face. Don't tell me that you learned your Marine 6 styles in the process of fighting me. Is it possible? Impossible. It's incredible. Pakuto absolutely cannot accept such a shocking event. From combat, learn Marine 6 styles. Stealing his Marine 6 styles while fighting him. How can that be? The time for fighting and fighting is only 10 minutes. That is to say, in the 10 minutes when the battle broke out, Layfon not only fought equally with his majestic naval headquarters colonel, but even used such a short time to secretly learn the Marine 6 styles from him. Only 10 minutes. No matter how monstrous a person is, it's impossible to do such a terrifying thing with one mind and two minds, right? Furthermore, even putting aside all factors, Pakuto is also unimaginable. How can a person master Marine 6 styles in 10 minutes? How does this allow Pakuto to accept all this? With one mind and two tasks, use more than 10 minutes to learn secretly until you have practiced Marine 6 styles to the beginning. Marine 6 styles, this is the secret of Marine. Advertisement. How can outsiders learn it without special training and teaching? It's even more impossible to steal it during the battle. What did Pakuto hear now? What did he hear from Layfon? Obediently, the monster. He actually said that after 10 minutes of fighting power, he learned Marine 6 styles secretly. Even practicing so far, have you already started? What a joke. Pakuto only felt that his head was about to explode. Do not. Impossible. No example of this horror exists. On this point, Pakuto can guarantee it with his life experience and experience. He himself knows the difficulty of training Marine 6 styles. It took him half a year to be the master of life and to be taught by a famous teacher, before he barely entered the threshold of Marine 6 styles. This achievement is still among the best in the same period. Therefore, Pakuto could never have imagined. In just 10 minutes, one person secretly learned such terrible things as Marine 6 styles. Colonel Pakuto, you really guessed right this time. Layfon smiled. Could it be possible? Do you really want to tell Pakuto that you just entered the door suddenly? Myself, got a plug-in. 060. I'm afraid that Pakuto will find it even more difficult to accept. The above reasons are the ones that Layfon thinks are the most convincing for Pakuto and the others after deliberation. If Pakuto couldn't even believe these things, Layfon really had no other excuses to forcefully persuade the other party to accept such incredible things. 10 minutes. You, with one mind and two minds, spent more than 10 minutes stealing Marine 6 styles from me. And now, have you learned it? FFLX. Your Marine 6 styles, already started. Pakuto stared at Layfon closely, his eyes were bloodshot and his expression was horrified. His spirit showed some signs of breaking down. Aside. Both Kebi and Beru Meber's foreheads were buzzing, and they were stunned on the spot, their eyes lost their focus, and they only felt the weightlessness of being separated from the world. What's going on? Emotion. Isn't this just a joke? But really, this is impossible. This is clearly contrary to common sense. Stealth. Stealing Marine 6 styles from Colonel Pakuto. If Marine 6 styles is really that simple, shouldn't everyone in Tianai have it? But in this sea today, this situation does not appear. When you first came into contact with Marine 6 styles, was when you fought against me. That's when you secretly learned Marine 6 styles from me. 10 minutes. Still in the case of one mind and two tasks. Pakuto has fallen into a state of severe mental breakdown. The dignified colonel of naval headquarters, facing the current words of Layfon, his mentality is on the verge of collapse, and he almost falls into a state of doubting life. Seeing Pakuto's appearance of losing his composure in front of him. Layfon looked odd. Colonel Pakuto, before you kept saying that your psychological quality is beyond my imagination. Judging by your current gaffe, it seems that your psychological quality is not as good as it is. But I'm sorry, Colonel Pakuto. There is something I didn't tell you. Actually, I'm hooked. But, I can't say that. Chapter 59 Garp. Hallucination. I must not have woken up. Open black lens bracket 8/15 first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Colonel Pakuto, are you all right? Layfon pushed Pakuto's left hand. How about a strong mental quality? I can't see it. This small blow seemed to almost break Pakuto's mind. This reminds Layfon. Pakuto's indifferent posture at first seemed to be under control. Unexpectedly, how much time has passed since then? Pakuto had already lost his mind. This change in emotional contrast must be too fast. At this time, Pakuto just woke up from the astonishment, his eyes were still bloodshot, he stared at Layfon in horror, took a deep breath, and forced himself to calm down. Can you prove it? Yes. Pakuto wanted proof. He could never have believed what Layfon said without proof. All of this is too unbelievable. Only by witnessing it with his own eyes can Pakuto accept it. Visible. Pakuto's bloodshot eyes stared at Layfon. He needs to see it with his own eyes. Without seeing it with his own eyes, he would never choose to accept it. Prove. Kebi and Belumbo also looked at Layfon. Yes, if they couldn't prove it, they couldn't imagine what Layfon said. The best way to prove it, of course, is to cast Marine 6 styles in front of them. Only in this way, they will accept this unbelievable and terrible thing. I was just about to say, since you, Colonel Pocato, proposed it on your own initiative, I will naturally prove it. Before the proof, what I said can only be said to be empty talk. Layfon opened his mouth slowly with a smile. Seeing Layfon's confident appearance, Pocato only felt dizzy. He gradually believed it. Can't find a reason for Layfon to lie. If it's a lie, how can you still be so confident after reaching this point? So, is what Layfon said true? Pocato's thinking was in a mess, and he couldn't recover in a short time. He does not know. Should I believe what Layfon said, or should I question it? Believe it. This is too shocking to the world, and it subverts cognition. Do not believe it. Looking at Layfon's confident expression, it doesn't seem like he is exaggerating. Looking good. Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly. It is also the first time for him to cast Marine 6 styles, so it is normal to have expectations for this. Marine 6 styles. This is the ability he has been dreaming of a few days ago. Never thought about it. We'll end up getting it this way. In a flash, I have already done it. Getting started with Marine 6 styles. No need to spend too much time to learn incrementally in a loop. Then use it first. Moonwalk. Layfon had a thought. In the mind, a lot of knowledge is like a trend, all emerging. It seems to be familiar with it from birth, and there is no hindrance to its use. The body is like instinct. Following Layfon's ideas, it made the Marine 6 styles. Moonwalk. Boom. When the foot stepped on the air, there was a piercing sound. Layfon's body jumped up quickly. Stepping on the air, Layfon achieved the feat of walking in the air. That's right. Walking in the air indeed. With the help of air, let your body continuously beat in the air. Instantly, Layfon's body has risen to an altitude of 30 to 50 meters. Advertisement. As this moonwalk, it is indeed a very practical skill. It is very effective against enemies in air combat, and it can also make up for most people who can't fly, and achieve the feat of dealing with enemies above the sky. Layfon stood high above the sky, looking down. A bird's eye view of the blue sea in the distance, boundless, with no end in sight. Not long. Layfon stepped on moonwalk and returned to the deck of the warship. He waited until he had just stabilized his feet on the deck of the warship. At this time, Pocato, Kebi, and Belumbo were already stunned, their lips trembling, and they looked at Layfon with horror, and could no longer look away. Silence. The atmosphere is weird. Grunt. Pocato rolled his throat, swallowed, and was unable to speak for a while. Of course he saw it. Just now, Layfon cast moonwalk in Marine 6 styles. Step on the air, step on the air. As a Marine colonel who can skillfully use Marine 6 styles, Pocato is of course very skilled in moonwalk, and he can definitely judge it. What Layfon used just now is definitely Marine 6 styles, there is no second possibility. Colonel Pocato, this. Kebi and Beru Meber turned their heads in shock, looking at Pocato, trying to seek Pocato's explanation. Moonwalk. Really moonwalk. Pocato ignored the two of them, indulging in his bewildered state. His worldview began to falter. It's really moonwalk. What does that mean? Layfon's words are not fabricated out of thin air, nor are they lying. What the other party said is actually true. This must be too scary. Then there is shave. Layfon's figure disappeared instantly. Moment. The time before and after is just one breath. Layfon's figure suddenly and strangely appeared more than 10 meters away. 15. Teleport. Shave. Pocato's expression was full of shock. His head thinking became stiff, unable to turn, let alone think. He had completely lost the ability to think, and only stayed in the current state of sluggishness and confusion. No doubt, what Layfon just said is the 6-style shave. Pocato is all too familiar. It is precisely because he is too familiar. He was able to judge in an instant that what Layfon was using was the 6-style shaving. And also, Tempest Kick. Layfon sweeps a corner. Call out. A force similar to a slash rushed forward swiftly. Boom. The power of the Tempest Kick broke through the sea directly and hit the sea head-on. Crash. The ocean current was disconnected, and the force of the explosion impacted the calm sea surface, causing ripples and waves to ripple on the sea surface, and wave after wave of sea surface ripples spread. It caused the entire warship to shake slightly on the sea surface. Finger pistol. Layfon puts power at your fingertips. A finger stabbed in front of him. Boom. The terrifying force directly penetrated the wooden barrel in front of Layfon. The barrel is pierced with bullet-like perforations. Rumble. The entire wooden barrel burst directly and turned into sawdust debris, flying all over the sky. As for iron body and paper arts, I guess I don't need to show too much. Layfon stopped, turned around and looked at the dumbfounded Pocato with a smile. Iron body and paper arts are not the most difficult to learn among the 6 styles. Therefore, advertisement. Layfon has used the first 4, which is enough to show that he has indeed mastered Marine 6 styles and has cultivated Marine 6 styles to the entry standard. Pocato opened his mouth, his shock couldn't cool down. He was really unpredictable. Layfon, unexpectedly learned. Not lying, no bragging, much less exaggeration. The other party has indeed learned Marine 6 styles. But this is too scary, right? 10 minutes. Dual purpose. In actual combat, secretly learned. All this subverts Pocato's cognitive view. His worldview is almost on the verge of collapse. How much time did he spend? A full half a year. In this case, it is barely an introduction to Marine 6 styles. Then compare it with Layfon. 1.5 years, one is. 10 minutes. This is bad. What a world of difference. It may be more than 1,000 miles away. How many times is this? Pokuto's mathematics is not good, he has been unable to judge. How many times the difference between him and Layfon? The most frightening thing is that Layfon didn't accept the teaching seriously, but stole the Marine 6 styles from him in the process of fighting him. This is even more terrifying. He didn't receive serious teachings, and just spent more than 10 minutes in the battle to secretly learn the basics of Marine 6 styles. What kind of monster can do this? Who can believe it? Colonel Pokuto, Mr. Layfon just cast those. Could it be, is it really Marine 6 styles? Kebi's lips trembled, and his whole head went numb. Yes, you guessed it right. This, indeed, is Marine 6 styles. Pokuto swallowed, and nodded heavily. It was also difficult for him to calm down in a short time. Everything that happened in front of him completely overturned the experience he had accumulated in his life. Let Pokuto de Qian Zhao doubt life on the spot. Same. Kebi and Belumbo, the two of them also doubted their lives. What's going on? Didn't they say the same starting point? Why is Mr. Layfon so good? How long has it been since we saw each other? Good guy, even learned Marine 6 styles. At the same time. The other side. In fact, as early as the moment before Layfon cast Marine 6 styles. In front of a certain room door, there was already a burly figure standing. It's Garp. Now, Garp stood in front of the door in a daze, his eyes widened, and he stared at Layfon's back with shock and horror, unable to move his gaze. Rao, with Garp's experience and psychological endurance, he almost collapsed. What did he see? He couldn't even dream of it. When he woke up, he saw such a scene that subverted the world view. Just now, what did the old man see? A hallucination. I think, I must have not woken up yet. Garp rubbed his eyes, seriously suspecting that he was hallucinating just now. He actually saw it just now. This brat, Layfon, is actually using Marine 6 styles. And judging from the opponent's proficient movements and postures, it is obvious that he has already learned something about Marine 6 styles. According to a preliminary conservative estimate, at least it can be said that he has reached the standard threshold for entry. What are you kidding? Chapter 60 Fight Pokuto again. Above Colonel Marine. Open black lens bracket 9/15 first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. What the hell? Countless question marks popped up on Garp's forehead. What have you seen right now? Could it be that you haven't woken up yet? This moment, Rao even Garp's calm worldview showed signs of wavering. Obediently, this kid Layfon, what he just cast was Marine 6 styles. Did Pokuto teach, or is there someone else who taught this kid? Who else? In my memory, long, I never told you that Layfon also knows how to Marine 6 styles. Dragon taught. Impossible. Long never mentioned this matter. So, what's going on here? Garp stared blankly at Layfon's back, froze in place for a moment, dazed, his eyes seemed a little absent-minded, and his spirit became in a trance. So here comes the problem. This kid, when did you learn Marine 6 styles? Can anyone explain this to me? Countless questions lingered in Garp's mind. He immediately stepped forward and walked forward. At this time, Pokuto was stunned. Kirby also stayed. Belumbo's eyes widened even more, and he looked at Layfon with horror and shock on his face. Looking at Layfon's eyes, he seemed to be looking at a terrifying monster. Really Marine 6 styles? Belumbo opened his mouth, his head buzzing. Really Marine 6 styles? So, what Mr. Layfon said just now is not fabricated out of thin air. Is it true that during the battle with Colonel Pokuto, he used more than 10 minutes to focus on 2 tasks and secretly learned Marine 6 styles from Colonel Pokuto? The facts are already in front of us. But 14 didn't know why. Kebi and Barumeber still expressed their bewilderment and disbelief. Including Pokuto, his mood is the same. Marine 6 styles. Really Marine 6 styles. As a dignified naval headquarters colonel, Pokuto is of course familiar with Marine 6 styles. Furthermore, Pokuto can't find any faults in almost all aspects of Layfon's movements and postures when he casts Marine 6 styles. It can be said that it has really reached the entry standard of Marine 6 styles. 10 minutes. Getting started with Marine 6 styles. Pokuto's lips trembled, and his mood set off waves like a storm, violently churning. If he hadn't experienced and witnessed it with his own eyes, Pokuto certainly wouldn't have dared to imagine such unimaginable things. Look up and down the Marine decades. Since the founding of Marine 6 styles. Who can use just 10 minutes to thoroughly learn the entrance of Marine 6 styles? No, not a single instance exists. In memory, Pokuto still remembers that when Zephyr taught him back then, he threatened that in Naval Headquarters records, it would take a full 4 months to practice Marine 6 styles the fastest. This is already the most efficient genius in Marine. Never thought. If you compare this genius with Layfon, you don't even deserve to carry Layfon's shoes. And this genius of Zephyr's mouth. It's Aokiji. Yes, Admiral of Headquarters Aokiji. It is the record for the fastest training speed of Marine 6 styles. It took a full 4 months. Aokiji Admiral, compared to Layfon, is simply not qualified. Pokuto's lips trembled. The talent gap is too big. The scary thing is that Layfon didn't accept the instruction step by step, but learned the Marine 6 styles secretly from the opponent during the battle. Advertisement. This is completely different from receiving instruction step by step. The two are so different. Mr. Layfon, is this a new record for Marine? Kirby asked tremblingly. More than that, Pokito's voice was a little horrified. It can be affirmed that not only is there no one before, even 10,000 years from now, it is impossible for such a horrible example to occur again. No one can imitate Layfon's speed in practicing Marine 6 styles. 10 minutes. In the time of eating a meal, Layfon has practiced Marine 6 styles to the beginning, or in a way of stealing. It is impossible for anyone to imitate such a feat that shocks the world. On this point, Polkadot can guarantee it with his own life. There are monsters every year. But a monster like Layfon is the only one in the world. In the next 10,000 years, there will be no second chance. Tread. Garp walked all the way to Pokato's side. Then, Garp quickly integrated into Pokato's atmosphere. There is no sense of violation and Garp was also dumbfounded, looking at Layfon with monster eyes. Vice Admiral Garp, Layfon, is this really the first time he came into contact with Marine 6 styles? You really never deserted him alone before. Pokato couldn't help asking. Never mentioned it. Garp looks weird. The four stood there in a daze, motionless, like statues. And Layfon got goosebumps from seeing them. $71. Accidentally overdressed. This is not good. I knew it earlier. Brew for a few more days, let it settle down, and then tell them to forget it. Layfon did not expect such a violent reaction from Garp and Pokato. It's not just an instant introduction to Marine 6 styles. Is this really worth being so shocking? Layfon thought strangely. If Pokato knew what was going on in Layfon's head, he would probably spurt blood on the spot. God, is there any humanity left? Let no one live. Think back to those days. It took Pokato himself half a year, and under Zephyr's daily supervision and teaching, he could barely reach the entry standard. This is already considered quite an excellent level. But Layfon took advantage of just 10 minutes and didn't mention it, and he learned it from the battle. In Layfon's eyes, such a terrifying feat is just drizzle. Trifles. People are more than people, it's so frustrating. How on earth did you do it? Garp couldn't help asking. He still can't figure it out. How could someone be such a monster? How to do it? Isn't this a very simple thing? Everything has already come naturally, is there still a process? Layfon's tone was odd. Then, Garp coughed violently, his face flushed for a while, and he couldn't refute for a while. Pokato, Kebi, and Belumbo opened their mouths and were speechless for a while. They couldn't carry on what Layfon had said. Is this genius? We mortals really don't understand the world of geniuses. It's so shocking. In our eyes, it takes years and months to do things. But in the eyes of these genius monsters, just a little thing. $5 hash. You can do it anywhere. When this feeling swept over the hearts of Kebi and Belumbo, their mentality collapsed on the spot. Good guy. In 10 minutes, first learned Marine 6 styles from actual combat with one mind and 2 tasks. It took only 1 day to learn Marine 6 styles easily. Garp took a deep breath, suppressing the shock inside. Advertisement. Genius is a little too much. He suddenly couldn't describe it in words. What the hell is this freak? Original. Layfon's talent makes Garp very satisfied, and he is very pleased that he has someone to succeed him. But gradually, Garp's sudden and horrifying discovery. This air, it seems that the monster is a little too outrageous. This is beyond the description of a genius. But. Monster. Colonel Pokato, do you want to fight? I also want to see how much my strength has improved. I would like to measure my current level of strength. Layfon's eyes flickered, looking at Pokato expectantly. Marine 6 styles has been integrated into actual combat. Layfon wants to see it too. When one's own swordsmanship cooperates with Marine 6 styles, how much can one's own strength be improved? It is good. Pokato forcibly suppressed the shock in his heart, and his words were brief. Then, neither has any slack. A battle erupted without a sound. This battle, Layfon has made full use of Marine 6 styles and swordsmanship, and integrated both into actual combat. The cooperation is very unique and almost impeccable. Thereby, Pokato's entire process was unilaterally suppressed. The aftermath of the battle erupted, causing many Marines to notice. Not long. A group of Marines surrounded the deck, looking at the two opponents with shocking faces. Are the two fighting again? It's only been a day, why are you fighting again? What all Marines in 367 did not expect was day after day of fighting. However, the battle situation has shown a completely different trend. In this battle, Layfon almost completely gained the upper hand. But Pokato, the dignified naval headquarters colonel, was unilaterally suppressed by Layfon. The gap in strength is already very obvious here. Let everyone dare not imagine. Colonel Pokato of Naval Headquarters, in the hands of a 7-year-old child, is showing signs of being at a disadvantage, and seems to be about to be defeated. This discovery shocked all Marines present. All Marines on the entire warship were deeply shocked. What's going on? How can it be so good that Colonel Pokato can't beat him? It's only been a day. Everyone was dumbfounded. After a day. Have you been able to easily and steadily suppress Pokato? Layfon, you kid, what a monster. Garp carefully watched the trend of the battlefield, and couldn't help but sigh with emotion in his heart. In this battle, if nothing else happens, Pokato will obviously lose. Previously, Garp couldn't imagine it even if he wanted to break his head. In just a few days, Layfon has grown all the way from a rookie to the present, and has already surpassed the existence of Pokato, the colonel of Naval Headquarters. It's so weird. Garp never overlooked a dire premise. Layfon, only 7 years old this year. Aside, Kebi and Belumbo were in shock. Colonel Pakuto, it seems that we are going to lose. They can't even dream of it. The majestic naval headquarters Colonel Pakuto actually lost to the 7-year-old Layfon. The scariest thing is, obviously yesterday. They also saw clearly. Layfon and Pakuto played against each other and ended in a tie. But only one day has passed since the battle that broke out yesterday. Today, the battle between the two broke out again, but the situation has ushered in an earth-shaking change. Layfon, who is only 7 years old, has already raised his own strength to the point where he can firmly suppress Pakuto. What kind of terrifying strength growth rate is this? Chapter 61 Arrival. Coordinate the capital of 7 waters. Open black lens bracket 10/15 first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Oh my god. Unbelievable. Colonel Pakuto, he is showing signs of defeat. Mr. Layfon, who was only 7 years old, was completely suppressed on the battlefield and retreated steadily. Is this still the powerful Colonel Pakuto in our impression? The dignified colonel of naval headquarters will be completely suppressed by a 7-year-old child. The development and trend of this battle subverted the cognition of all Marines present. They never dared to imagine in their life that the majestic Colonel Marine would one day be suppressed so strongly by a 7-year-old child, showing signs of retreating steadily. So spooky. Simply unimaginable. Boom. Boom. The collision of the blade and the blade flashed a dazzling extinction. The duel between swordsmanship and swordsmanship is fierce and pleasing to the eye. The collision between Marine 6 styles and Marine 6 styles is even more applauding. The battle situation is already very obvious. Although the battle broke out in less than 10 minutes, it was obvious that Pakuto had been suppressed, and he seemed a little panicked when dealing with Layfon's offensive, and he looked extremely embarrassed. The strong airflow produced by the terrifying collision quickly spread in all directions, blowing the uniform clothes of many Marines standing in all directions. The entire warship was driven by the strong airflow produced by the collision between the two, causing waves of shaking. A pair of shocking gazes stared blankly at the high-altitude battlefield. Both of them cast the 6-style moonwalk. Battle at high altitude. In addition to the competition between swordsmanship and swordsmanship, Marine 6 styles is also a means for the two to collide. Marine 6 styles. Mr. Layfon, when did you learn Marine 6 styles? Many Marines were dumbfounded. Even if you have never eaten pork, you have always seen pigs running. They failed to learn Marine 6 styles, but it doesn't mean that they have never been exposed to Marine 6 styles. At least, on Pakuto, they didn't see Marine 6 styles once or twice. No doubt, they believed in their hearts that what Layfon cast was also Marine 6 styles. So here comes the problem. Layfon, when did you learn Marine 6 styles? This question is deeply entangled in the minds of many Marines, leaving them puzzled, their entire brains buzzing, and they are in a state of chaos. Mr. Layfon, become so strong and strong. Colonel Pakuto, you're about to lose. Although it's unbelievable, but they can still see clearly the trend of the battle situation in front of them. Pakuto was completely suppressed and retreated steadily, and it was only a matter of time before he lost. On the other hand, Layfon is unparalleled, suppressing Pakuto with absolute strength, so that the latter has no chance of reversal, and presses on every step of the way. What a monster. Pakuto looked at Layfon helplessly. He didn't dare to think about it himself. Someday, he will be suppressed into this embarrassing situation by a 7-year-old child. He can predict. It is only a matter of time before he is defeated. Forget it, don't type. Pakuto waved his hand, stepped on the moonwalk and kept a safe distance from Layfon, put away the saber in his hand, and raised his hands with a bitter smile. I surrender. It would be meaningless for Pakuto to continue fighting. Defeat is only a matter of time. He has no means to reverse the current situation suppressed by Layfon. One day before and after, I was surpassed. Layfon the brat. Advertisement. What a freak. I originally thought that it would take half a year for Layfon to surpass me. But in the end, it overturned my cognition after all. Half a year. Are you kidding me? How long has it been? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. No more than 3 days at most, I was surpassed by him. Unknowingly, Pakuto only felt that his face had been slapped loudly. It's too embarrassing. Surpass yourself in half a year. Not at all. After all, Pakuto still overestimated himself and underestimated Layfon. Really, Layfon has learned Marine 6 styles, and his strength has been improved in an all-round way. In actual combat, there will hardly be any obvious defects. Swordsmanship plus Marine 6 styles, the two complement each other perfectly. Pakuto pedals moonwalk back on deck. Pairs of shocking eyes looked at Pakuto's figure one after another. Turn. A group of Marines looked at the young figure holding a samurai sword who also stepped on the moonwalk and returned to the deck. It's so shocking. Colonel Pakuto, take the initiative to admit defeat. Since then announced. Naval Headquarters Colonel Pakuto, lost to 7-year-old Layfon. Although the result of this battle was expected by everyone present, when it really happened, their emotions were still incomparably shocked. No one would believe it unless they saw it with their own eyes. A Marine colonel will lose to a 7-year-old child. It's incredible. Colonel Pakuto, defeated. Kebi and Belumbo lost their eyesight. From this, it can be judged that Layfon's strength, presumably, has already surpassed Colonel Marine. A 7-year-old Marine Commodore-level powerhouse. Obediently, Kebi and the two were in shock, their eyes filled with horror. Colonel Pakuto, I accept it. Layfon retracted his katana slowly, and looked at Pokato with a smile on his face. This battle also gave him something to gain. He can also judge accurately. What realm has his current strength class reached? Above Colonel Marine, the class of Marine Commodore. There is no doubt about this. Concession. I didn't make any concessions. Pokato smiled wryly. I've tried my best, but I still didn't expect that I would be almost crushed and beaten by you the whole time, without any power to fight back. Think about it. Pokato only felt that his past decades had been in vain. Decades of hard work are still not as good as a kid's effort in a few days. This is so overwhelming. What the hell am I crazy about? I actually would take the initiative to compare myself with a monster. Only this thought can slightly soothe Pokato's bitter mood. It's all gone. It's all gone. Garp waved his hand, and a loud voice came out of his mouth. A group of onlookers, Marines, left in shock. Today's battle will undoubtedly have a strong impact on their cognitive outlook. It also allowed them to have a deeper understanding of Layfon. Monster. Advertisement. A terrifying monster that even Colonel Pokato can't shake. 1. A 7-year-old monster. Not surprisingly. Today's battle will impress this group of Marines for the rest of their lives. With Marine one after another dispersed. But the shock brought about by the result of this battle has always remained in the hearts of many Marines, making it impossible for them to digest the scene that Mayu saw in a short time. I lost. Colonel Pokato lost to Mr. Layfon. Mr. Layfon, who is only 7 years old, has such a strong and comprehensive pressure on Colonel Pokato, which is really subversive. At the age of 7, the strength surpasses Colonel Marine. What kind of concept is this? The battle is over. Pokato stood on the deck in a daze, motionless. Why are you fussing so much with a monster? Just figure it out. Monsters, you can't look at them from the eyes of ordinary people. Garp patted Pokato on the shoulder. Yes, Pokato felt terrified, and nodded empathetically. In just a few days, he has grown from a rookie to a monster that surpasses himself. How can I compare myself with this monster? After calming down a bit, Pokato began to give instructions to Kebi and Belumbo, and continued to teach Marine 6 styles. As for Layfon, Pokato is no longer qualified to teach. And, teaching monsters of this level, Pokato felt that this would kill him. Are you shameless? Being hit one after another, being shown off one after another, isn't that enough? Pokato didn't want to continue to bear the blow of this monster. That's it. This showdown has just ended. Although there are still some epilogues, for example, the Marines are more respectful to Layfon, but in fact it does not affect the navigation of the entire warship. The warship was still the same as before, moving forward at an even speed and rushing to the capital of 7 waters. The time in the sea will always make people feel extremely boring. Time, get Jiao Jiao, flashed. Another half day passed. Seeing. The scorching sun had just risen in the sky, and in a blink of an eye it was the time for the sun to set again. The golden halo sprinkled on the sea surface, and the sea surface was rippling with ripples and waves. The reflected golden light was like a large piece of gold, which was extremely dazzling. Crash. The sea breeze blows gently, and the sea water flutters. The warships flying the marine flag rushed all the way to the capital of 7 waters. Finally, it took about a day and a half. Right in front of the warship, in the originally endless sea area, an island finally appeared on the sea. The island is very tall and stepped, and the structure of the whole island is very novel. B. City of 7 waters. A bustling sea city. At the same time, it is also the destination of the warship line. It can be regarded as the terminal of Kun. Warship. Deck. When he saw an island appearing in front of him, Marine, holding a telescope, hurriedly shouted excitedly to the bottom. Colonel Pokato, the capital of the 7 waters is ahead. I saw the capital of 7 waters. The sound spread. With such a large warship, the atmosphere suddenly became noisy and lively. A group of Marines showed excited smiles. They finally arrived at the capital of 7 waters as they wished. This also means that the boring sea voyage can finally come to an end for a short time. Chapter 62. Do you know the Straw Hat Pirates? Open black lens bracket 11/15 first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. I don't know when. Layfon has already carried a samurai sword, walked out of the room, and came to the deck fence of the warship. He stared at the end of the distant sea thousands of meters away. As predicted, soon he saw that a prosperous island city on the sea appeared before his eyes. Even though he saw this bustling island ambiguously, Layfon could still accurately see that it was a very bustling island. As expected of a city on the sea, the capital of 7 waters. The level of prosperity far exceeds that of other small islands. Layfon sighed. Go at full speed, ready to dock at the coast of the capital of 7 waters. Following Pokato's order, the entire warship rushed to the front at full speed. It's getting closer. The whole picture of the capital of 7 waters is more clearly presented in Layfon's eyes. The entire capital of 7 waters is not an island, but more like a city built on the sea. The structure of the city are very novel and refreshing. More like a water park. At the top of the city, there are countless waterways. The water from the top will flow down through these waterways continuously, forming a series of waterways, allowing sailboats to sail in them at will, which is very convenient. Dock. Pokato drank loudly. A warship flying the marine flag naturally doesn't have to worry about encountering trouble when it docks. Here, but the capital. Kebi and Beru Meber stood beside Layfon, watching the panorama of the capital of 7 waters with amazed eyes. A beautiful sea city. Even Layfon has to admit it. Whether it is its structure, or its appearance, or its economy and prosperity, the capital of Seven Waters can be said to be unique and outstanding in the Grand Line. Ready to furl the sails. Pokoto's voice was loud and clear, wandering around. Gradually, the warship is getting closer and closer to the port coast of the capital of Seven Waters. On the deck, Layfon can already clearly see many merchants staying on the coast of the capital of Seven Waters, as well as many merchant ships docked on the coast. With the arrival of the warship, it naturally inevitably attracted the attention of these people. Pairs of eyes full of awe, fixed on the hull of this huge warship. Yes, it's Marine. Has Marine come to our capital of Seven Waters? Many pedestrians hurriedly left the coast quickly. They want to convey this message back. Finally, the warship docked at the edge of the coast smoothly, and a series of operations such as anchoring and sailing were carried out smoothly under Pokoto's orders. A group of Marines were very busy. Sailing at sea is really boring. After finally reaching an island, they will naturally appear extraordinarily excited. Old man, I'm about to land, what do you say? Layfon turned to Garp. Little devil, don't go too far. Garp couldn't help but remind him at this moment. Clear. A smile appeared on Layfon's face, and he turned his head to look at the prosperous city streets of the capital of Seven Waters. His eyes sparkled brightly, and his expression seemed meaningful. Straw Hat Pirates. Really looking forward to meeting him. Also, my big brother Luffy, whom I have never met before. Immediately. Advertisement. Layfon jumped off the deck of the warship. After thinking for a while, Garp decided to order BEDF to Kebby and the two. You two, follow him too, don't let him make too much noise. Yes, Vice Admiral Garp. Kebby and Belumbo saluted with their backs straight. Then, he also quickly followed Layfon's footsteps, jumped off the warship, and hurriedly followed Layfon's back. Watching Layfon and his party leave, Garp shook his head helplessly, and whispered to himself, Luffy, your brother is not a cheap lamp. Whether you can escape the fate of being arrested is up to you. Layfon, he's a real monster, a complete freak. According to Garp, the Straw Hat Pirates are facing a huge disaster. And the root of this disaster is Layfon. Yes, Layfon alone is a huge disaster for the Straw Hat Pirates. I hope this little brat doesn't go too far. Garp thought strangely. But, it would be a good thing if Luffy could be captured. At least, it can also re-teach the kid Luffy, and correct the character and philosophy of the other party. Vice Admiral Garp. At this time, Pokoto hurriedly came over with a phone bug, with a hurried expression and an anxious tone. What's wrong? Garp asked in surprise. Yes, it is Aokiji Admiral, he is looking for you. Pokoto took a deep breath and handed the phone bug over. Aokiji, what does this kid want me for? Garp was a little puzzled, but he still answered the call bug. Aokiji, what do you want me to do with this old man? Don't disturb my time. Dare to reprimand the Admiral of Headquarters in the capacity of Vice Admiral. Only Garp dared to do it. Vice Admiral Garp, I heard you were in the capital of Seven Waters. Aokiji's lazy voice came. What's wrong? Garp asked back. Coincidentally, I'm also in the capital of Seven Waters. I'll come to you later, and take a boat with the wind to send me back to Marineford, how about it? Are you also in the capital of Seven Waters? Garp was taken aback, somewhat unexpected. Mr. Layfon, please wait for us. Kebby and Berumeber wiped the sweat from their foreheads, finally caught up with Layfon, and walked to Layfon's side. Why are you here? Layfon looked weird. This old man really does not make people feel at ease. Throw yourself 2 mop bottles. Want to let yourself catch the Straw Hat Pirates? Doesn't this just make it harder for yourself? Stared at by Layfon with disdainful eyes, Kebby and Berumeber felt uneasy, and quickly lowered their heads, appearing a little humble. Okay, you two come with me, don't ask what you shouldn't ask, don't talk too much what you shouldn't say. Anyway, just follow my instructions. Layfon waved his hand and shook his head helplessly. Come here, I can't run away from these two people. Mr. Layfon, what is our goal? Kirby showed strong anticipation. Straw Hat Pirates. Advertisement. Catch them and send them to Impel Down. Layfon said very calmly. What? Kebby widened his eyes and opened his mouth. Mr. Layfon, the Straw Hat Pirates and you. I know, the old man told me in advance. It was he who sent me to carry out this mission. So, don't talk so much nonsense with me. Layfon interrupts Kirby. But, Kirby was about to say. Not all pirates are heinous. The Straw Hat Pirates he knew were a group of good people, not a group of evil pirates. But when he saw Layfon's eyes, Kebby's heart tightened, he had to swallow all the words that came to his lips, his face flushed for a while, and he didn't dare to speak too much. All the way to a shipyard. Layfon directed to Kebby and Belumbo directly. You two, go and inquire about the whereabouts of the Straw Hat Pirates. Yes, Mr. Layfon. The two left quickly. Turn. Only now did Layfon have time to take a good look at the environment of the surrounding shipyards. Dockyard 1. When Layfon saw these words, a smile appeared on his face. It's a coincidence, if I guess correctly, this should be the best shipyard under the Carrera Company. In my memory, Going Merry, carried by the Straw Hat Pirates, seems to be staying here for repairs. If you're lucky, you might be able to find Going Merry here. Thus, you can directly come and wait for a rabbit. Think here. Layfon stepped forward, walking around the noisy shipyard with ease. Since Layfon has not yet officially joined the Marine, he naturally does not have a custom-made Marine uniform with him. He still wears ordinary clothes now, but it does not allow people to judge Layfon's identity. However, Layfon, who is only 7 years old, naturally still attracted the strange eyes of many shipbuilders as he walked around the noisy shipyard. Little devil, this is not a place for you to come. The Japanese shipyard does not welcome Shanshan Pinglian. Several shipbuilders walked up to Layfon. I'm here to find someone. Layfon looked up and smiled. Looking for someone. This is not the place to look for someone. Moreover, there is no one you are looking for. Leave quickly and don't delay our work. Several craftsmen looked impatient. They didn't take Layfon to heart. For a 7-year-old child, the right to speak is too humble. No, you will definitely have an impression of the group of people I am looking for. Layfon smiled playfully. Okay, let's talk about it. Several people frowned tightly, their tone perfunctory. Excuse me, do you know the Straw Hat Pirates? Layfon quietly watched the 3 shipwrights in front of him. He recognized it. Among the 3 shipwrights, one of them is called Kaku. This is a tall and thin young man with a unique long nose and a black peaked cap. Layfon knew that too. On the bright side, his identity as one of Carrera's 5 outstanding shipbuilders is just a cover for his superficial identity. In fact, he is one of the hidden secret agents of CP9. What a coincidence. Layfon himself hadn't expected it. At first, I ran into a hidden agent of CP9. Chapter 63. Don't be impulsive, you will really die. Open black lens bracket 12/15 first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Seeing that Kaku is still hiding his identity and lurking in the Carrera Shipbuilding Company, Layfon can basically judge the current status of the capital of 7 waters. Kaku has not revealed his identity. That means, Robin, you haven't left the capital of 7 waters yet. The Straw Hat Pirates, of course, still stayed in the capital of 7 waters, and did not rush to Annie's lobby. This time period is quite convenient for Layfon. It's really time for me to come. Layfon smiled. Obviously, CP9 has not been fully deployed yet. Otherwise, Kaku would not continue to hide in the capital of 7 waters. Straw Hat Pirates. Hearing Layfon's words, several shipwrights, including Kaku, frowned. Of course they know each other. The opponent's ship is now being repaired in the dock. About the customer's information, we can't disclose to you. We don't have pirates here, but a group of customers who want to restore their favorite ship. Standing beside Kaku, a middle-aged man with a cigar at the corner of his mouth spoke. He has a big golden back head, with goggles on his forehead, looks like an ordinary gangster, wearing denim, staring at Layfon with an unfriendly expression. Barry, one of the 5 major shipbuilders of the Carrera Company. Would you believe me if I said it was me, Marine? Layfon asked with a smile. Marine. Barry looked at Layfon strangely. I've never heard that the Marine recruits such young Marine soldiers. Kid, even if you lie, there is a limit. Only Kaku's complexion changed slightly. Whether true or not. This news is not a good sign for him. Marine actually came to the capital of 7 waters. If this is the case, then the already cumbersome and chaotic pattern of the capital of 7 waters will become even more chaotic with Marine's intervention. This brat is probably lying. Kaku made a judgment in his heart. Even if Marine really came, it would be impossible for a brat to investigate the whereabouts of the Straw Hat Pirates. What use is an imp? Could it be? Marine wants this brat to catch those pirates from the Straw Hat Pirates. This is obviously unrealistic. After sorting out the thoughts in his mind, Kaku calmed down, and his expression returned to the original, just like his usual appearance as a shipbuilder. As an excellent agent, Kaku's psychological quality naturally needless to say. Okay, kid, we don't have the so-called Straw Hat Pirates here. Barry waved his hand, his face full of perfunctory and impatience. I think I saw it. Layfon's eyes flashed, and he looked at a certain ship not far away. The pirate ship of the Straw Hat Pirates is placed in your shipyard. The words fell. The expressions of the 3 Barry in front of them changed subtly. Then the atmosphere is a little weird. Tread. At this time, Kebi and Belumbo returned to Layfon's side, with serious faces. Mr. Layfon, we have already asked clearly. The Straw Hat Pirates put the damaged pirate ship in this room just 2 days ago. Repaired in the shipyard. Heard the words. Layfon looked at Barry in front of him. Is there anything else to say? See the marine uniforms on Kebi and Barumeber. Whether it was Barry or Kaku, they were obviously stunned. Barry stared at Layfon suspiciously. He now somewhat believes what Layfon just said. Only a 6 or 7-year-old marine. It seems that the status is not low. How can that be? Kaku is a different idea entirely. Advertisement. It's really here. Will the plan be affected? Kaku frowned, lost in thought. How did Marine come to the capital of 7 waters at this critical moment? Prior to this, he had not received any relevant news at all. Anyway, plan, don't have fun. Even if Marine does come, Kaku will never allow Marine to interfere with their plans. For this plan, they have prepared for several years. How much time and energy have they spent from lurking to Carrera until now? Does this mean that if you give up, you can give up? Years of time and energy have been put into it. There is no retreat. Only succeed, not fail. Once he fails, Kaku can predict how miserable his own end will be. Including the CP9 organization, will usher in a very miserable fate. How much confidence the people above have in this plan, then once the mission fails, how much luck and disaster they will suffer. Kaku can imagine. At that time, those who meet their CP9 will be doomed. Marine, don't stop our plan. If you can. Even if you kill him, let the plan proceed as before. Kaku's eyes flickered, and a cold light shone from the depths of his pupils. He has murderous intent. Multi-year planning. No mistakes. Any factors that may interfere with plan changes must be eliminated in advance. Even Marine is no exception. Marine just. Compared to their CP organization, Marine is just a group of subordinates. As a CP9 agent, Kaku has a very high sense of superiority to his identity. Therefore, in his eyes, Marine can only be a subordinate of the CP organization. Just killing a group of subordinates, Kaku will not have any psychological burden. Everything, in order to proceed as planned. Casualties are inevitable. Even if he was asked to die by himself, he would not hesitate. This is the mind honed by Kaku's years of agent training. At the same time, seems to have a feeling. Layfon raised his head suddenly, with a weird smile on his face, looking at Kaku with weird eyes. I just felt like I felt it. Killing intent. Hallucination. Do not. This is no hallucination. The guy in front of him, Kaku, just wanted to kill him. Layfon felt a little emotional. These agents of the CP9 organization really kill people without blinking an eye. I obviously didn't do anything, but the other party started to think, to erase the unstable factor of myself. Really conscientious. In order to ensure that one's own tasks can be completed perfectly, one can ignore everything and pay all costs to obliterate all unstable factors. In this way, the task can be absolutely 100% completed. This is the agent of the CP organization. This moment. Layfon has a more direct understanding of the agents of the CP organization. At this time, Kaku, who was watched by Layfon, quickly restrained many emotions in his heart, and the remaining killing intent in the depths of his eyes disappeared without a trace in an instant. Asking for flowers. Instantly. Advertisement. He changed back to the appearance of a shipbuilder who was harmless to humans and animals. Can be watched by Layfon's eyes. Kaku just felt goosebumps rising all over his body, as if all the secrets hidden in his whole body had been seen through. This feeling made Kaku feel uncomfortable all over. There is no way to hide. This taste of being fully exposed to the eyes of others made Kaku very resistant and very vigilant. This brat. Not simple. Kaku took a deep breath, slightly suppressing the throbbing in his heart. Just the look in the eyes made Kaku feel throbbing invisibly. Such instances are very rare. As an excellent agent, Kaku naturally has a very keen insight into danger. And obviously, from Layfon, Kaku felt the ubiquitous sense of crisis. Layfon, like a beast. At this moment, there is an extremely terrifying and powerful aura. This makes Kaku feel like sitting on pins and needles. This kid, he only looks like 6 or 7 years old. It was difficult for Kaku to really calm down. He couldn't even dream of it. One day, he would actually feel such a majestic sense of crisis from a 6 or 7-year-old child. This really subverted Kaku's cognitive view. No matter how good the CP organization's agent Lu Chi is, he's not as scary as this kid in front of him, right? At only 6 or 7 years old, I let myself have such a strong sense of crisis. Rao was Lu Chi back then, it was impossible to do it. Marine, when did you breed this monster? Many thoughts surged in Kaku's heart. Can't figure it out. I can never think of a reason. Even if you are Marine, there is no reason to break into our shipyard directly to catch pirates. Unless, you have a search warrant from the Marine branch. At this time, Barry calmly refuted Layfon's words. Here, there is no identity of pirates and Marines. Yes, just customers. Once the customer gives enough berry, it's up to them to fulfill their duty of helping the customer repair their summer sailing boat. As for whether the other party is a pirate, to be honest, they don't really care about that. What a hassle. Layfon looked at the pirate ship not far away, narrowing his eyes slightly. And in front of you. Barry and Kaku have already made moves to stop Layfon from doing anything. Mr. Layfon, how about we withdraw first? Seeing the serious situation, Kevy couldn't help but whispered a reminder. It's too troublesome and a waste of time. Not at all. Layfon shook his head, and stepped forward. Next moment. Layfon's figure disappeared in an instant. Not even a shadow left. It's as if, eliminating medicine out of thin air. This is 6 ways to shave. Kaku, who is familiar with Marine 6 styles, shrank his pupils, his face was full of shock, and his mood was wildly shocked. He is preparing to react. Unexpectedly. At the same time. Before Kaku reacted, a voice sounded from the back of Kaku's head very indifferently. Don't be impulsive, you will really die. I'm not joking. You were really intent on killing me just now, am I right? Chapter 64 Kaku's worldview collapsed on the spot. Open black lens bracket 13/15 first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Okay, so fast. Kaku's whole body became stiff, and he could feel the boundless coldness spreading from his back to his body. The majestic sense of oppression enveloped every cell in his body, making his body as stiff as a statue, not daring to make the slightest movement. Depressed. Boundless depression swept Kaku's heart. He can feel it. At the back of his head, a cold samurai sword was already held. Whenever there is a slight change in him, this sharp blade will swing back. At that time, his own head will fall to the ground. This brat, where did the monster come from? Kaku was shocked. Just now he was sure that he would never be wrong. That is Marine 6 styles. 6 ways of shaving. In an instant, let yourself achieve the effect of teleportation to attack the enemy. And the 6 moves of this kid in front of him are performed at a very high level, and it is no longer the ordinary standard lost in the first contact. But how old is the other party? 6 or 7-year-old kid, actually Grandmaster Marine 6 styles. Marine, when did this guy appear? Kaku's mood fluctuated violently. He never dared to imagine. One day, he will encounter such a freak. Even if it was a genius like Lucci back then, he couldn't compare with this kid in front of him and call him 6'3" clans. How talented is Lucci? Kaku still has a deep memory. Lucci is known as the strongest in the entire CP9 organization for 800 years. From this we can see how high Lucci's fighting talent is. But that's the case, and Kaku has never heard that Lucci can control marine looting so proficiently at the age of 6 or 7. This is not scientific. But now, just now, what did he see? He was absolutely certain that from this 6 or 7-year-old kid, he could see that the other party was already proficient in using Marine 6 styles. There is no doubt about this. Kaku's mind became chaotic, and he didn't dare to act rashly, so he could only stand motionless. If he changes slightly, he can predict. The knife behind his head will take his life immediately. Layfon is so fast. Kaku couldn't react at all, and was subdued instantly. Right, that is it. Layfon looked at Kaku's stiff body with a smile on his face. He held a sharp samurai sword in his right hand, and the blade rested on the back of Kaku's head. Whenever the latter made any movement, he would cut off the blade without hesitation. First fight. Kaku was completely defeated by Fu Feng. The kind that has no power to fight back. Although this is not a real fight, Kaku's strength should not be underestimated. Under such circumstances, Kaku can be defeated face to face. It can also be seen. Layfon's strength has reached a terrifying level. Hey, do all of you Marines say that? Barry's expression tightened, and he fixed his eyes on Layfon who was holding a samurai sword. Can't see clearly. He couldn't see Layfon's movements at all, he just saw Layfon subdue Kaku. Barry knows Kaku's strength very well. It can be said that in their #1 shipyard, Kaku's strength is definitely among the best, second only to Luchin. But the other party was overwhelmed by a face-to-face meeting. This was something Barry never expected. Is this kid really a 6 or 7-year-old kid? This strength seems a little scary. You do your task, I do mine, can't everyone understand each other? You have to do it to your death, what a waste of time. Layfon patted Kaku's shoulder deeply, and said with a smile earnestly. Advertisement. Kaku's whole body was tense, cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and he said nothing. Just a little misunderstanding. Layfon took back the samurai sword in his hand, looked at Kaku with a smile. Next time, don't show such obvious emotional fluctuations to me. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I will really lose control and kill you. Looking at Layfon's harmless and smiling face. No one can think of it. Layfon would be so threatening. Kaku knows. This is no joke. This kid in front of me is absolutely serious. Next time if the other party finds out that he is showing killing intent, the other party will never be soft-hearted again. What a terrifying existence. The plan for the capital of 7 waters may really go wrong. Kaku took a deep breath and forcibly suppressed the throbbing in his heart. He dared not show any more hostility towards Layfon. Just at that moment, although Kaku was indeed careless, and it was inconvenient to reveal his identity in this environment, many factors interfered. But in fact, Kaku doesn't think that even if he goes all out, he can deal with Layfon in front of him. At that moment, Layfon's explosive strength already made Kaku feel palpitations. Now, do you still want to stop me from going to the Straw Hat Pirates? Layfon smiled at Barry. Fine, you can do whatever you want. After Barry calmed down, Yintu waved his hand. Can't stop it. He found out. The little devil in front of him cannot be figured out with common sense. If you say you can do it, and the strength is still very strong. This made Barry dare not act rashly, let alone stop Layma's behavior. That's good. Layfon turned around, glanced at the noisy #1 dock, and narrowed his eyes slightly. Too many people. The key is noisy. Immediately, Layfon turned his head and said to Barry again, there are many people here, and it is very noisy, do you mind if I let them sleep for a while? The words fell. Barry looked stunned. What do you mean? Judging by the look on your face, does that mean you agree? Layfon whispered to himself. There are about 100 workers in the entire #1 dock, busy with their own affairs. The whispering voices made the place seem very noisy. Mr. Layfon, you must not be impulsive. Kirby sensed Layfon's intentions and hurriedly tried to dissuade him. But it doesn't help anymore. A faint breath spread from Layfon's body in all directions. The momentum is a transparent circular arc, which spreads rapidly to an area of over a kilometer, covering almost all corners of the entire No.1 dock. The ore that was originally like a gentle river suddenly became turbulent, like monstrous waves, crashing wave after wave, impacting various regions. No doubt. This is Conqueror's Haki. The monstrous conquerors, unleashed from Layfon's body. The first to feel this momentum were Kebi, Kaku, and Barry. Then, thump, thump, the 2 shipwrights standing beside Barry rolled their eyes, foamed at the mouth and lost their self-awareness on the spot, so their bodies fell to the side uncontrollably. Boom. The majestic Conqueror's Haki enveloped the entire dock in an instant. This is, what a terrifying aura. Kaku's pupils shrank, and he looked at Layfon's back in horror. He felt it. Advertisement. This majestic aura hit his body, and it was very rare for him to have an emotional wave called fear. deep in his heart. Under the impact of this aura, his steady mind could not help showing signs of shaking. Visible to the naked eye. Thump, thump. One after another, the shipbuilders fell to the ground one after another, rolled their eyes and lost consciousness for a moment, and fell to their side without any precaution. Once down, after down. Hundreds of shipbuilders were originally talking with smiles on their faces. Can sweep the body with conquerors. Their smiles immediately became stiff, and they fell to the ground one by one, without anyone being an exception. It was only a few seconds before and after. In the huge No. 1 dock, there are quite a few people who can still maintain consciousness and stand in place. Originally noisy environment. In an instant, it's become extraordinarily deserted. Silence. No sound. I see. The unconscious shipwrights on the ground were foaming at the mouth, lying motionless on the ground, and there was no more movement. Look around. There are only a handful of people standing in a 1,000-meter radius, and they can be counted on one hand. The atmosphere is weird. The picture is creepy. The scene of hundreds of people losing consciousness and falling down at the same time caused an unparalleled visual impact, which made the goosebumps rise all over the body. Grunt. Barry's throat rolled and he swallowed, his eyes full of horror watching such a strange scene. The cigar he was biting at the corner of his mouth fell to the ground, and his body became extremely stiff. Fear pierced his heart, making him tremble uncontrollably. Just now, what happened? Why did everyone fall down? For a moment, everyone, without exception, lost consciousness. What kind of weird and terrifying method is this? Barry's mind went blank, his forehead buzzing. This scene changed the world view. He was stunned and his thinking was rigid. Aside. Even Kaku was stunned. Seeing that hundreds of people all fainted and fell to the ground at the same time, even Kaku's calm mind had to be deeply moved by the current weird incident. As an excellent CP organization agent, the most important thing is to have a calm thinking head, and a calm 5.8 mentality that is so calm that you will not be surprised when encountering anything. However, all of this was overturned by what happened just now. Kaku's thinking is stiff, and his mentality is close to the edge of collapse. It was the first time even he had witnessed such an unbelievable thing. What happened? This kind of method, could it be the legendary? Kaku's throat was dry and he was shocked. And in his mind, an extremely terrifying idea has been produced uncontrollably. His eyes were wide and round, fixed on Layfon's back, unable to move. It's him. Could it be him? How can that be? This kid, he and Luo. At this age, how is it possible to master such a power that frightens the world? This power, it is very similar to a terrifying force that Kaku once heard about. The similarity can be said to be as high as 90% or more. And that terrifying force is called by the people of the sea. Ba, Conqueror's Haki. Out of 1,000,000 people, only one person will have the potential to be a king. This brat, he actually has Conqueror's Haki. Moreover, can it be manipulated freely and easily? Kaku's worldview has suffered unprecedented shocks and collisions, and is facing a severe situation. Chapter 65 Going Merry welcomes an unexpected guest. Open black lens bracket 14/15 first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. As an excellent agent of the CP organization, Kaku fell into a state of deep doubts about life on the spot, his eyes were lost, and his mood was shaken. Can't go wrong. Just now, that must be the legendary Conqueror's Haki. Only Conqueror's Haki can sweep hundreds of people in an instant. Let hundreds of people lose consciousness and fall to the ground at the same time, unconscious. Conquerors. Millions of talents have the potential to be a king. This brat, how could he have it? Kaku's turbulent mood could not be calmed down. Like the waves of a storm, wave after wave is turbulent. Marine, when did monsters of this level appear? Kaku stared at Layfon's back. In his eyes, Layfon's risk factor is rising steadily. This isn't just a monster with Marine 6 styles mastered. And, still a freak who took control of conquerors. Not only Grandmaster Marine 6 styles, but also at this age has mastered such terrible methods as conquerors. What a terrifying talent must have been to do this. Anyway, Kaku didn't dare to think. He couldn't figure it out either. At the age of 6 or 7, she was pregnant with Marine 6 styles and conquerors. This is no longer what a genius can describe. What a freak. Monster. The plan may really be interfered by the intervention of this monster. Kaku swallowed, forcibly suppressing the shock in his heart. He has a strong sense of crisis. The plan of the capital of 7 waters is very likely to have a serious impact because of this little ghost in front of 14 people. Just thought of. In front of Layfon's terrifying strength, Ku couldn't help but feel his scalp tingling. I'm afraid that even Lu Chi can't stop this monster. Do not. Even. They and the entire CP9 organization may not be able to shake the little devil who is only 6 or 7 years old in front of him. What's going on here? Barry, who was in a state of extreme shock, was a little limp in his articulation. Paused. Barry stared at Layfon's back in horror and horror. It's you. He couldn't think of a second possibility other than Layfon. Reminiscent of what Layfon said just now, although Barry couldn't imagine how a kid could do such unimaginable behavior. But who else could it be? How did the other party do it? A moment. Hundreds of people lost consciousness. What an incredible method this is. Barry's view of cognition is constantly suffering heavy blows. Kirby, what did you just say? Layfon withdrew his gaze in satisfaction, and turned to look at Kebi. When he saw the collapsed crowd, Kebi's throat was dry, and he opened his mouth to force a smile. No, it's nothing, it's not important anymore. Also wanted to stop Layfon. Unexpectedly, Layfon shot too fast. Before Kebi could finish speaking, everyone here collapsed. Okay, you two, you can leave here. Layfon turned to look at Kaku and Barry. In the whole shipyard, only these two people are still awake. The other hundreds of shipbuilders, without exception, all fell to the ground unconscious. What have you done? Barry's lips trembled as he questioned in a trembling voice. Just let them sleep for a while, and you can rest assured that it won't affect them too much. Soon, they will wake up naturally. Layfon smiled and explained. Walk. Kaku dragged Barry, and the two quickly left a shipyard. For Layfon, Kaku dare not disobey at all now. Advertisement. This moment, it was only then that Kaku truly realized what a terrifying existence Layfon is, a child who is only 6 or 7 years old. Regardless of strength or talent. In almost all aspects, Kaku felt the unreachable gap. Just left the shipyard. Kaku's footsteps stopped slightly, and he looked back at the shipyard behind. His eyes became complicated and hard to conceal, and his mood was still fluctuating violently. This matter needs to be reported to Lu Chi. In the capital of 7 waters, if you encounter this monster again in the future, you must not provoke it lightly. If he does not intend to disrupt our plans, we must not conflict with him. This monster is too scary. With such thoughts in mind, Kaku didn't choose to talk to the distraught Barry, and quickly stepped out of this area, disappearing without a trace in a blink of an eye. A shipyard. Mr. Layfon, this is the pirate ship of the Straw Hat Pirates, Going Merry. Kebi looked at the dilapidated pirate ship in front of him, and introduced it seriously. The pirate ship is pretty dilapidated. And from many details, it can be seen that its hull structure is almost on the verge of collapse, and it can no longer support a long voyage. In short, its lifespan has come. No matter how good a shipbuilder is, it is impossible to restore it to its original state. Unless, completely renew it, but then, it wouldn't be Going Merry anymore. Instead of completely renewing, it is better to remanufacture a ship. It looks like someone is there. It's really interesting. Layfon's eyes flickered, quietly watching the dilapidated pirate ship in front of him. He felt it. Inside this ship, there is the sound of someone moving. Mr. Layfon, are we going to wait here for the return of the Straw Hat Pirates? Kirby couldn't help but ask. Unnecessary. Layfon took a step forward, walking towards Going Merry step by step. Finally, he successfully boarded the pirate ship. Stepping on the deck of the pirate ship with sails under his feet, being deep in the center of the deck of the pirate ship allows Layfon to observe the hull structure of the entire ship more clearly. Rundown. Broken. Various aspects of the hull structure have been damaged to varying degrees. There is no possibility of restoration. It's time to go to bed. Exclamation mark. A burst of pleasant footsteps sounded from the deck. Kindness. Someone. Kebi popped his eyes, looking very surprised. More than one. Standing on the deck, Layfon took a deep look at the door directly ahead. It looks like the Straw Hat Pirates were really worried about completely handing Going Merry over to the shipyard for repair, and left a few crew members behind to guard the pirate ship. But, fair enough. Save yourself wasting more time to catch them one by one. I haven't forgotten the old man's mission. The Straw Hat Pirates. If you don't have enough skills, I suggest that you should be arrested by me and sent to impel down. Layfon smiled playfully. Of course he didn't forget Garp's reminder before he set foot in the capital of 7 waters. Don't go overboard. In other words, as long as you don't overdo it, you'll be fine, right? Layfon smiled strangely. He looked expectantly, staring at the front door. So here comes the problem. Who is the person who stayed behind on the pirate ship? Who's in the Straw Hat Pirates? Advertisement. Without thinking too much, Feng walked forward step by step. He directly raised his hand and pushed open the door. Crunch. A crisp and pleasant voice sounded, and the door was pushed open. Then, an iron rod was slammed down from the sky, aiming at the head of Layfon, who was just about to set foot on the gate. The speed was so fast that a faint sound of breaking through the air could be heard. Have you prepared? But it's a pity. Gimmicky and pointless. Layfon turned sideways lightly, dodging the blow with ease. Looked up. You can see a tall girl with a graceful figure and a beautiful appearance. At this moment, she was holding an iron rod, her big eyes were full of vigilance, and she was staring at Layfon, the uninvited guest. Her pretty face was full of caution, and her spirit was extremely tense. Who are you? Nami's pink lips moved slightly, and her tone was a little nervous and reserved. Then, before Layfon could speak, Nami turned his eyes and saw Kebi and Berumeber behind Layfon, and also saw the marine uniform on the ladder. Marine. Nami's pupils shrank, his face paled in shock. She couldn't even dream of it. Marine. Guan Ran found them so quickly. It's cold. It's cold. Nami's heart almost went cold. 567 is actually Marine. And it's at the door. Straight away to find Going Merry. Luffy. Zoro. Come back soon. Nami was about to cry. She could feel how severe her current situation was. Got caught by Marine. What can she do with this? She thought so. It's safest to stay with Going Merry. Never thought. Going Merry was found by Marine. This immediately made Nami feel that he had fallen into a desperate situation. The navigator of the Straw Hat Pirates, Nami the little thieving cat, and a bounty of 3 million berry. Should I admit my mistake? Layfon looked at Nami in front of him, and spoke slowly. It's over, it's over. Nami retreated step by step, her hands holding the iron bar trembled a little, her beautiful face showed a thick color of horror. Even the identity has been recognized. Obviously. This group of Marines are already prepared. The purpose is to target their Straw Hat Pirates. This made some tricks that had just arisen in Nami's heart disappear in smoke. Marine, Nami, run away, I'll save you. A soft shout came from outside the door. Tread, tread. Heavy footsteps trampled on the deck, and the entire pirate ship seemed to be shaking violently. This is a very burly, humanoid animal similar to an elk. It was full of anger, and quickly rushed to where Layfon was. Chopper, don't be impulsive. Nami screamed. Chopper who loves cotton candy. Bounty, 50 berry. 2 crew members of the Straw Hat Pirates have appeared so far. Layfon smiled and looked at Chopper who was approaching and trying to attack him. His expression was still calm, without any flinching at all. That being the case, game, it's officially started now. Just let me play with you guys. The 2 of the Straw Hat Pirates. The smile on Layfon's face was intriguing. Chapter 66 The disaster about to sweep the Straw Hat Pirates. Open black lens bracket 15/15 seeking first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. It turned out to be Marine. Has Marine found us yet? And, Going Merry has been found here. We must stop them and not let them arrest Nami. I promised Luffy and the others that I will protect Nami and Going Merry. So, whoever it is, I will defeat him. Never let anyone hurt Nami, hurt Going Merry. Luffy told me before leaving, let me protect Going Merry and Nami. I will never break my promise. I will never let Luffy down. Chopper thought with firm conviction. Holding the many thoughts in its head, it gritted its teeth and launched an attack with a serious face. Marine, to Jiao, strengthen your wrist. Chopper immediately used the fruit ability, and the muscles in both arms began to twitch wildly, and gradually swelled, full of explosive power. The bulging muscles gave Chopper the majestic power of his fists. In an instant, it arrived in front of Layfon. This punch was aimed at Layfon's body and went underground. Very fast. The fist never arrived before. The strong tearing airflow generated by the fist wind has already rushed towards Layfon's face. Mr. Layfon, be careful. Kebi's eyes were fixed, and he was about to take the initiative to intercept. Unexpectedly, Layfon waved his hand, calmly stopped Kebi's behavior, and watched calmly as Chopper's attack was about to arrive in front of him. The moment that is about to arrive. Moment. Shave. The figure of Layfon disappeared in place. Punch down. Blank. This startled Chopper, and he turned his eyes quickly, trying to find Layfon. People, what? Just now, I hid so fast. When did you escape? Chopper's mood was a little shaken, and he felt a very strong sense of crisis. When Layfon reappeared, he was already standing on the left-hand side of Chopper, with a smile on his face and watching Chopper jump into the air with playful eyes. At the same time, Chopper's eyes rolled wildly, his expression full of vigilance. Then, it saw Layfon standing beside him. The immature figure who is only 7 years old has endowed Chopper with an endless sense of oppression. When did you appear beside me? Chopper's pupils shrank. It only felt that a chill came from the soles of its feet to the sky. His speed is so fast. Chopper's face was full of vigilance, and he quickly retreated several steps. It uses its own flexible body to keep a certain safe distance from Layfon at the fastest speed, and stares closely at Layfon with its eyes full of vigilance, not daring to be careless or relax. Strong. This enemy is very strong. Chopper was shocked, gritted his teeth to suppress the anxiety in his heart. Silence. Depressed. A chilling air emerged spontaneously. Nami, how are you doing? Advertisement. After calming down a bit, Chopper subtly walked to Nami's position beside him, looked at Nami worriedly, and retreated to Nami's side. I'm fine, just be careful, this kid is not simple. Nami took a deep breath, her tone full of seriousness and seriousness. It's a hunch. Nami could feel it. This child who is only 6 or 7 years old in front of me is probably very strong. The other party standing here is enough to give Nami an endless sense of oppression, making her dare not act rashly at all, with goosebumps rising all over her body, and her spirit is extremely tense. Very dangerous. This child is extremely dangerous. Nami has never felt such a majestic sense of crisis from a person, making her feel a little uncomfortable standing here. Young but strong. Strong enough to make Nami tremble from the bottom of his heart. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, Nami wouldn't have dared to imagine it. For such a young child, the aura emanating from the other party's body actually made her feel so terrified and trembling, and her heart became uneasy. Very scary. This is a very scary child. In Marine, when did such a terrifying existence appear? Well, I feel it too. He's really strong, very strong. Chopper nodded gravely. After a short fight, it has already understood that the Layfon in front of it is by no means an ordinary person. Although the other party is young. But it must not be ignored, the opponent's terrifying level of strength. Just now, the reaction speed to avoid its attack is definitely not something that ordinary Marines can possess. The speed of dodging was so fast that Chopper couldn't see it in advance even when he used Devil Fruit. It's because of Chopper's current terror reaction nerves, it just couldn't detect when Layfon dodged his own attack. Thereby, let that punch of it go to nothing. Even if I eat the blue wave ball, I can fully use the ability of Devil Fruit, and my body's reaction nerves are countless times stronger than before. But even so, I still couldn't capture the movement of him disappearing out of thin air just now. This guy is really strong. Unprecedented pressure weighed on Chopper's shoulders. The young figure of Layfon in front of him made Chopper seem to be facing a towering and insurmountable mountain, blocking it firmly in front of it. Let it be completely devoid of any overreaching thoughts. Is it only to this extent? Layfon smiled. Nami, you look for a chance to escape. Send the message to Luffy and tell them that they must not be allowed to return to Going Merry. Perhaps, we are already surrounded by Marines. If Luffy and the others impulsively return to Going Merry, they will most likely be ambushed by Marine. Please remember to remind them. Chopper gritted his teeth and asked Nami. Chopper, you. Nami's pink lips were slightly parted, and her beautiful face was full of worry. Leave me alone, you must find a chance to escape. Otherwise, Luffy and the others will return to Going Merry, and it will be really troublesome. Chopper took a deep breath and fixed his eyes on Layfon in front of him. It is already ready, desperate, ready to fight to the death. Anyway, it firmly believes in its heart. It needs to protect Going Merry and Nami. Protecting Going Merry is what Luffy told me, and it must not break its promise. As for Sanji, he often talked about protecting the lady, and Chopper made up his mind not to let his friends down. It has to protect everything. FFLX. No matter how strong the enemy is, it is fearless. Advertisement. It's all coming together, actually. You can rest assured that there is no ambush or siege set up by Marine. I can tell you with certainty that your worries and concerns are unnecessary. Layfon smiled. Kindness. Both Chopper and Nami were shocked. Lie, or bait, or want to lure them into a trap. I won't believe what you said, it must be a conspiracy. Chopper snorted. Conspiracy. No, 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 I think you may have misunderstood something. Actually, you think too highly of yourself. To deal with you, there is no need for Marine to set up an ambush, and there is no need for too many reinforcements. To tell the truth, deal with you. It only takes me alone, and there is more than enough rubbing. Therefore, you don't need to worry at all, I will set up an ambush. Let me say this, can your depressed mood be relieved? Layfon was all smiles. The words fell. Chopper and Nami became even more suspicious. Not to mention how skeptical they were of Layfon's words. And purely just, they felt that Layfon had no intention of lying. But, if what Layfon says is true, then they really don't need to worry about these. Just don't know why. They would rather be more inclined that what Layfon says is false. If what Layfon says is true, then they will be even more troublesome. No need to set up an ambush and siege. Don't need Marine reinforcements either. From here, both Chopper and Nami can hear it. There is a lot of self-confidence in the other party's tone. If the opponent relied on his own strength and confidence, and didn't let Marine set up an ambush and surround him, then neutralize Nami, Patient Zhao's mood would be even heavier. What kind of level of strength does one have to give the opponent such majestic and exuberant confidence? Presumably, the strength of the opponent must be very strong. Knowing that they are the Straw Hat Pirates, they also know the overall combat power of their Straw Hat Pirates. But the other party still dared to come alone with 2 or 3 people to trouble their entire pirate group, without bringing any Marine reinforcements. If such a person is not mentally ill, then he really has very terrifying strength himself. Obviously, whether it is Chopper or Nami, they are more inclined to the latter. The child in front of him may be very powerful. Far beyond what they imagined. Who are you? Chopper cheered up with a heavy heart. Nami held the iron rod in both hands, stared at Layfon with her beautiful eyes, her spirit was in a state of high tension, and she was nervous and dared not relax. Who I am? I'm just an ordinary Marine. A Marine ordered to capture your Straw Hat Pirates. Layfon smiled. Of course, for you now, there are more appropriate words to describe it. I am your disaster. A catastrophe is about to engulf your entire Straw Hat Pirates. Chapter 67 Fully dominate the nightmare of Nami and Chopper. Open black lens bracket 1/8 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Disaster. Chopper's heart sank, his pupils fixed on Layfon and became more and more vigilant. Facing Layfon, it dare not relax in the slightest. This is a terrible existence. Although young, his strength is terrifying. Furthermore, the 2 Marines behind the opponent haven't made a move yet, and the opponent alone is enough to bring them such a majestic and exuberant sense of oppression. This makes Chopper feel that his situation is getting more and more serious. This time, I'm afraid it's really doomed. Nami, find a chance to escape. Escape 1 is counted as 1. Chopper gritted his teeth, and reminded him earnestly. Chopper, you. Nami's pink lips moved slightly, but she was speechless for a while to refute. If they don't escape, maybe both of them will be left behind. Escape to find reinforcements, this is the only chance. It is the only way to solve the current predicament. You have to remind Luffy and them to be careful. This guy in front of us, he is really strong, and I feel an endless sense of crisis. Originated from the beast-like intuition, Chopper can smell the boundless threat from Layfon's body, making the hairs all over his body stand up. For the first time, it felt such a majestic and exuberant sense of crisis from a person. The scary thing is, the other party is only 6 or 7 years old, still a child. Also, the opponent hasn't really made a move yet, but they have already given them an endless sense of oppression. Before the battle broke out, Chopper could already imagine it. Once the battle really breaks out, it will also be the moment when it loses. I see. Nami bit her pink lips lightly, and nodded heavily. She put away the iron rod in her hand and disassembled it into several sections. With a pair of big eyes full of vigilance and solemnity, OOO stared at Layfon, not daring to move. She is looking for opportunities. A chance for her to escape. Although she couldn't bear to abandon Chopper. But she had to admit that Chopper was right. If she doesn't escape, inform Luffy and them that a strong enemy is coming. I'm afraid the consequences will be more serious and unimaginable. I'm here to stop them. Chopper's tone was serious. Be careful. Nami opened his mouth, looking worried. When seeing Nami's actions, Layfon couldn't help laughing. Escape. How can there be such a simple thing? Girl, you are too naive. Escape under my nose. If you can actually do it, then I'd be looking forward to it. Thought Layfon. Mr. Layfon, can you help me? Kebi and Beru Meber asked in low voices. Standing behind Layfon, they were already at full strength. As long as Layfon gave an order, they would naturally not be stingy to help immediately. No, just watch the show on the sidelines. This is a game between me and the Straw Hat Pirates. Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly, and directly rejected Kebi's proposal. Turn. He looked at Chopper quietly. If you only have this level, then you can't protect the safety of your companions. The words fell. Chopper seemed to be furious. Its eyes were sharp, and it shouted softly, strengthen the antlers. I see. The antlers on Chopper's forehead swelled and grew bigger in an instant, almost longer than its body, and exuded a very sharp aura. Nami, this is the time. Advertisement. Escape. Chopper lunges forward, and the antlers strike Layfon. Moment. Chopper flashed and appeared in front of Layfon, and the huge antlers slammed down. The sound of breaking the air sounded. Very ear-piercing. The antlers slid down swiftly, aiming at Layfon's body. Compared with Layfon's young body, Jiba's huge antlers are even more gigantic. Facing Chopper's attack, Layfon finally moved at a critical moment. He slowly took out the samurai sword from his waist. That moment, the sharp blade shone with cold light. The air temperature here seems to have plummeted a lot. Get icy. Cold. The biting coldness made Chopper's hair stand on end, and even his movements were slightly stiff and paused. Blood. It smells of blood. Chopper stared at the katana in Layfon's hand with horror on his face. It smelled a faint smell of blood from the katana in Layfon's hand. Obviously, the blade was not stained with blood and looked very smooth, but it still let it smell the bloody smell emanating from this smooth blade. Although it is very faint, it is absolutely impossible for it to be ignored. How many people did you kill to be contaminated with such an indelible smell of blood? The smell of blood can't be washed off. This knife may kill at least hundreds of people. This guy is really scary. Chopper felt a deep sense of timidity and panic. Noticing Chopper's stiff and paused movements, Layfon's smile became even weirder. With such a mentality, do you want to deal with yourself? How naive. This group of children should be given a good lesson. These guys of the Straw Hat Pirates are still too immature after all. Antlers attack. Layfon raised the blade in his hand and laid it horizontally in front of him with ease. The huge antlers fell down and were blocked by the blade. Boom. The ear-piercing sound spread rapidly in all directions. Layfon held the samurai sword in place, motionless, completely unshaken by Chopper's blow, and looked extraordinarily calm, like a majestic mountain, unshakable. Retreat. Chopper was startled and tried to retreat quickly. Back. It's too late. Layfon smiled and cut off the blade in his hand. The lavender sword glow wrapped around the blade. Call out. Slashing. Instantly released from the blade. Like a blooming BEDF flower, it is beautiful and colorful. The slash cut through the sky and hit Chopper's body head-on. Just before being hit, Chopper shouted, "Fur enhancement." In an instant, the hair on Chopper's body became furry, wrapping it into a circle, and countless hairs grew out from the body very lushly. Finally, boom, the slash hits Chopper's body. The terrifying power directly penetrated the fur and pierced into Chopper's body. What? Chopper was in pain and couldn't help but let out a cry. The huge force spread from its body and passed through its whole body, knocking its whole body into the air several tens of meters away, just in the direction of Nami, who was about to try to escape from going merry. Chopper. Nami was startled, and stopped abruptly. Advertisement. Boom. Chopper came crashing, eventually hitting Nami's body. The two rolled several meters away in the air before falling to the edge of the corner of the wall. Rumble. The whole room seemed to be shaken and trembled violently. Bursts of loud noises spread in all directions, incomparably loud and piercing. Smoke billowed. The wooden walls were broken into cracks. Click, click. The piercing and crisp sound spread far away. Ahem. A violent cough sounded from the corner of the wall. Chopper coughed violently, with bloodline spreading from the corner of his mouth, a pair of pupils staring at Layfon in horror, with a heavy heart, and the tingling pain in his body gradually eroded his self-confidence. Chopper, how are you? Nami rubbed his head and looked at Chopper with a worried expression. Hit by that slash, Chopper must have been injured. I'm fine. Chopper shook his head with a heavy face. Big trouble. After this knife, it realized how big the gap between the two sides was. Like a chasm. What a world of difference. It found that it didn't even have the ability to temporarily block Layfon in front of it. That way, there's no way Nami can escape from this guy's nose. Nami, you may not escape. I can't stop this guy. Chopper wiped the bloodline from the corner of his mouth, and his tone was a little desperate. Hearing this, Nami felt a lot of pressure. Both eyes stared straight ahead. That young figure with a samurai sword in his hand. It was such a young figure, but it endowed Chopper Nami with an endless sense of oppression, like a huge stone pressing heavily on their hearts, making them almost breathless. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, come back quickly. Nami's heart was full of hopeless and hopeful fantasies. An unprecedentedly terrifying and powerful enemy stood in front of them. Nami can depend on it. Only the crew members can return to Going Merry in time, otherwise, she doesn't think that she and Chopper can shake this terrifying existence in front of her eyes. Even, Nami felt that she was really going to be captured by Marine this time. There has never been a desperate situation that made Nami so desperate. And this time of despair, purely brought about by one person. This is the main factor that shocked Nami. Not surrounded by Marine. Only 3 people were dispatched. The other 2 didn't make a move at all. The other party, alone, completely crushed herself and Chopper. And even, the other party is still a child of 6 or 7 years old. This made Nami even more terrified. Marine, when did this horrible freak come out? Okay, you two, have you figured out how to die? Layfon looked at Chopper and Nami in front of him with a smile, intriguing. He held a samurai sword in his hand, and the blade shone coldly. A faint smell of blood emanated from the blade, and with the breeze blowing, this faint smell of blood lingered in the small room. Chopper and Nami leaned their backs against the corner in fear, feeling the faint smell of blood coming to their faces, which made their bodies tremble uncontrollably. Now, Layfon wielding a samurai sword is a nightmare that fully dominates their bodies. Chapter 68 Hope. Nami's renewed hope. Open black lens bracket 2/8 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. It's over, it's over. This is really over. Marine actually sent a monster of this level to deal with us. And most importantly, Luffy, Zoro and the others did not stay on Going Merry. Just me and Chopper, we are no match for this guy at all. Nami panicked and was gradually overwhelmed by a desperate nightmare. Beside, Chopper's mood is almost the same as Nami's. But, Chopper's mentality still retains a trace of faith. Ahem. Coughing violently again, Chopper stood up from the edge of the corner, staring at Layfon with serious and solemn eyes, and the hair on his body was stained with a lot of bloodline. It made its figure look extraordinarily embarrassed. Chopper, stop fighting, we can't beat this guy. Nami hastily opened his mouth to dissuade. With the enemy in front of him, Nami couldn't bear the idea of stubbornness at all. If the fight continues, she is worried that Chauba will die in battle. No, I will fight to the end. Hold on, Luffy and Zoro are back. Chopper took a deep breath, his tone serious and solemn. Then, without the slightest hesitation, boom, Chopper kicked his feet and chose to attack Layfon again. Strengthen your wrist. The muscles of its arms bulged, and its entire body seemed to grow a lot bigger. With its explosive arms, it swung its fists and slammed down on Layfon fiercely. Compared with Chopper's current huge body, Layfon's young figure is particularly low. But it is such a tiny figure that endows Chopper and Nami with deep despair. Boom. Layfon turned sideways, dodging easily. Chopper hit the deck with both fists, and the entire deck was instantly shattered. Countless cracked wood chips were thrown in all directions and scattered in every corner. It's my turn. Layfon stood beside Chopper, smiling unabated. Not good. Chopper's pupils shrank, and he was about to retreat. But it's too late. Layfon is too fast. With one kick, it swept across Chopper's abdomen suddenly. Puff. Chopper vomited blood on the spot, and his whole body fell backwards. The distance passed directly from his abdomen to his whole body, making his body uncontrollable, and finally hit the wall behind him. Rumble. The wooden walls collapsed and shattered, and countless sawdust scattered in the air, completely burying Ba's body under the broken sawdust wreckage. Smoke billowed up. The deck under his feet was about to collapse, shaking violently constantly. Chopper. Nami was anxious and rushed to the ruins. She pushed away countless sawdust wreckage, and saw Chopper lying on the deck, covered in scars and spitting blood. His eyes looked a little dull. Mr. Layfon. Seeing this, Kebi, who was standing behind Layfon, couldn't help but speak. Don't worry, each of them has the physique of a monster, immune to death. At most, let them stretch their muscles and bones, not to mention too much damage. I have my own measure. Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly. The old man said, let yourself be careful and don't play too much. Layfon will naturally not take it on deaf ears. Anyway, I still need to take care of my own family. I can't, I'll kill them all. So, how embarrassing. If it doesn't work out, it's likely that they will have a grudge against Luffy. But they are too weak. Layfon couldn't help shaking his head, feeling a little bored in his heart. Chopper and Nami, after all, are not combat members of the Straw Hat Pirates. Strength, Shaw's is a bit pitiful. Advertisement. Before Layfon was serious, they couldn't bear the parry and lay on the ground, seemingly dying. This made Layfon's excitement just aroused, but it was immediately extinguished by a basin of cold water. Too weak. Weakness made Layfon not want to play with them anymore. Boom. There was a loud bang. Chopper jumped up again, wiped the bloodline from the corner of his mouth, and still looked at Layfon resolutely. Chopper, don't be impulsive. Nami hastened to dissuade. No match at all. How to fight this? The levels are not at the same level at all. No matter how you play it, the result will not make much difference. Anyway, Nami doesn't think that just relying on the strength of the two of them can move this terrifying existence in front of him. The opponent is really too strong. Nami, before leaving, Luffy told me to protect you well. I can't break my promise. I can't live up to Luffy's trust. Chopper steps forward. It lunges forward again. Strengthen your wrist. The muscles of both arms bulged, and both fists aimed at Layfon fiercely. Shave. Layfon disappeared. Like a teleportation, it appeared beside Chopper in the next second. So fast. This guy. Chopper's pupils shrank. Before it could react, a fist magnified infinitely in its eyes. Layfon punched Chopper head-on in the face. Boom. This punch ruthlessly sent Chopper flying dozens of meters away, before hitting the wooden wall again. It's a lot of willpower. Layfon withdrew his fist and looked at the knocked Chopper with emotion. The way the other party rushed forward was indeed very strong and masculine. The way the opponent was punched by Layfon was really a bit embarrassing. You, don't come here. Nami was holding the weather stick in both hands, his face full of apprehension and panic. The atmosphere is depressing. Silence. Endless sense of oppression swept across Nami's body, causing cold sweat to break out involuntarily from her white forehead, and slip down from her forehead. Layfon just took a step. But in vain, the footsteps stopped abruptly. Tread, tread. Faint footsteps came from outside the door. Even though the distance is far away, it still gives Layfon a keen insight. Someone returned. Layfon's eyes narrowed slightly, flashing a look of surprise. The sound of footsteps continued to amplify in his ears. Someone is approaching. Close to going merry. Apart from the crew of the Straw Hat Pirates, Layfon couldn't think of a second possibility. Things are finally starting to get interesting. Who will return to going merry? It's really exciting. Layfon had a weird smile on his face. He just stood there quietly, holding a sharp samurai sword in his right hand. The blade was smooth and free from stains, but it emitted a faint smell of blood all the time. Wisps of cold breath are always wrapped around the blade, making it look like a devil's fangs, very ferocious. Mr. Layfon. With a thought in mind, Kebi opened his mouth to remind. Advertisement. Obviously, he also noticed it. Asking for flowers. Someone is approaching in their direction. Very fast. Could it be someone from the Straw Hat Pirates? Countless thoughts and ideas arose in Kirby's head. If it was a member of the Straw Hat Pirates, who would it be? Kirby was a little curious. But on second thought. Thinking of Chopper's miserable appearance just now, and the embarrassing scene of being completely suppressed, Kebi couldn't help but feel a little worried. Mr. Luffy, you must not be impulsive. Mr. Layfon, this is not an existence that you can shake. For the Straw Hat Pirates, Gong certainly maintains a very high opinion. This is not a group of evil pirates, but a group of good people. Nature. Kirby doesn't want the Straw Hat Pirates to be caught by Layfon here. Mr. Layfon, this is too cruel. If I hadn't known Vice Admiral Garp's explanation in advance, I couldn't help suspecting that Mr. Layfon really wanted to wipe out the Straw Hat Pirates. Kirby couldn't help but wonder. He himself was a little uncertain about what Layfon was thinking. Tread, tread. The footsteps became louder and louder. Came from the door. Someone is back. Nami was taken aback for a moment, and then ecstasy welled up in her heart. Perhaps. They still have hope. This time, there is a rescue. As long as his companion returns, Nami feels that there is still a possibility of turning around this desperate situation. She hastily pulled Chopper out of the ruins, her face was excited, and her tone was full of hope. Chopper, someone is back. We may be saved. Who is it? Chopper's voice was a little weak. Crunch. Text time. Without warning, the door was pushed open. The crisp sound spread in all directions. A tall and thin man's figure appeared in the sight of Layma and Nami. A tall, thin young man in a suit, with a cigarette biting in the corner of his mouth, blonde hair hanging down, covering his right eye, and eyebrows in the shape of Uzumaki. Blackfoot Sanji. Bounty. 34 million berry. Finally, an interesting guy came. The corner of Layfon's mouth moved slightly, and he turned slowly to look at the person who came in front of the door. Sanji, the third member of the Straw Hat Pirates. At this time, after seeing Sanji's figure, both Nami and Chopper showed excitement and enthusiasm, shouting impatiently, Sanji, you are finally back. Nami, Inba, you guys are hurt. Sanji quickly noticed the scars on Nami and Chopper, the expression on his face became heavy and angry, and his eyes were burning with fire. I turned my gaze. He looked at the three unexpected guests that Going Merry welcomed this time. Damn it, is it you guys? Hurt my beloved Nami, and my important partner Chopper. Marine, even if it's Marine, today, I want you to try it, the wrath of a gentleman. Sanji shouted angrily. He saw the Marine uniforms worn by Kirby and Beru Meber. As for why Marine appeared here, Sanji has not delved too much into it. Now that Marine has appeared, what he needs to do is to take Marine down, and in Marine's hands, protect Going Merry and his partners. This is what Sanji thinks in his heart. The rest of the things have become unimportant. Chapter 69 Sanji is here. FK it, Sanji was seconded. Open black lens bracket 3/8 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Hope is finally here. Nami was so excited that she was about to cry. Survival from nowhere. In desperation, Sanji finally returned to Going Merry. As if her inner wailing and hope were summoned, reinforcements came. And this has become the great hope in Nami's heart. The shadow of despair that had originally enveloped her gradually broke away, turning into the dawn of infinite new life, shining on her body, and gradually restoring her confidence. If it's Sanji, there is still hope to deal with this guy in front of him. Do not. More than just hope, but definitely, sure. Nami clenched her fists, thinking to herself. She regained hope and faith. Chopper, how is your injury? Sanji looked at Chopper with sharp and angry eyes. Visible to the naked eye, Chopper's body is covered with bruises, and bloodline is stained in his hair. This injury is definitely not light. I'm fine, Sanji, be careful. He is very strong, not as simple as you think. In short, don't be careless. Chopper took a deep breath, and asked seriously. The enemy is strong. Very strong. It was so strong that Chopper couldn't help but feel trembling when he recalled the time when he fought against the opponent. Sanji, be careful. Nami also nodded in agreement. This guy, 553, is as strong as a monster. Don't underestimate his age, his strength is a bit scary. Both of them had serious admonitions and exhortations. Obviously, Layfon's strength was so strong that it cast a psychological shadow on both of them. If Sanji hadn't arrived in time, the two of them have fallen into deep despair. Be completely dominated by Layfon alone. I know. Without Nami and Chopper's reminders, Sanji could feel from Layfon's body the eerie and cold oppression emanating from the latter. A faint smell of blood wafted through the Thousand Air King. On the blade, there is a faint smell of blood that cannot be washed off. This brat, it's really not easy. Sanji's eyes became serious and dignified. Although he was deeply angry that Layfon had seriously injured his partner, he was not so overwhelmed by anger that he lost his mind. The atmosphere is silent, depressed. A chilling aura emerged spontaneously, filling the small room. Sanji's eyes are fixed on Layfon, his face is full of anger, his eyes are sharp, and he is ready for a full-scale attack, ready to go. Although you are very strong. But since you hurt my partner, don't even think about leaving unharmed. No matter what, I will make you pay a painful price for everything you have done today. Marine, bear my wrath. Sanji snorted coldly, and the flames of anger flowed in his pupils undisguisedly. Hurt Nami, hurt Chopper, no matter who it is, it will not be forgiven. Although, the other party is a young child. But Sanji dare not really underestimate the other party. Child, what is this kid? Have you ever seen a child with a knife in his hand? Even after being washed, the smell of blood has not dissipated at all. It's obvious. The blade in this kid's hand must have killed many people, so it was contaminated with such a strong smell of blood. Even if it was washed, it still couldn't wash away the unique smell. Which family's children can do this kind of terrifying righteousness? At least hundreds of human lives were contaminated by the blade. Is this something normal kids can do? Of course not. And, Sanji has never felt such a majestic sense of oppression from a person. The Layfon in front of me is the first of the few. A alien who is so young, but can give Sanji a sense of oppression. If I treated this guy with the mentality of treating an ordinary child, I might not even know how I died. This kid is very scary. If you have to let Sanji describe it. Advertisement. He felt that it would be more appropriate to describe it in 4 words. That is, unfathomable, somewhat unfathomably powerful. Call. Sanji exhaled heavily, suppressing all the thoughts in his mind, and fixed his eyes on Layfon. Even so, you must not let the other party feel better. If you hurt your partner, the other party will also have to pay the price. Then, boom, Sanji kicked his feet and took the initiative to attack. The deck under the feet was penetrated by an extremely terrifying force, and it collapsed directly, cracking and cracking in all directions. At the same time, Sanji's whole body is like an arrow leaving the string, sprinting forward swiftly. The speed is so fast, I can't see his figure clearly. There was a piercing sound, extremely ear-piercing. Moment. Sanji has arrived in front of Layfon. Sanji is so fast. Completely uncapturable, I can only vaguely see his afterimage left in place. At this time, Kebi and Belumbo, who were behind Layfon, couldn't see clearly when Sanji launched an attack, and couldn't even react. It can be seen from this. Sanji's strength is far from being comparable to that of Kebi and Berumeber. A strong air current blows from the front. Feel Sanji menacing. Layfon's eyes twinkled, the smile on his face remained undiminished, without the slightest panic or apprehension, he looked very calm. Shoulder tenderloin. Sanji drank loudly. He kicked across the air and slammed down on Layfon's shoulder with unrivaled speed. This kick is extremely fast. It's hard to guard against. Near. The distance is getting closer. This scene. Falling into the eyes of Nami and Chopper, both of them became excited and looking forward to it. Nami clenched her fists, thinking to herself. Sure to win. If it's Sanji, sure to subdue this freak in the marine. Sanji, come on. Chopper started cheering Sanji up. Hope. Sanji, is there hope? If they can't even win against Sanji, they are truly hopeless and fall into despair again. Beat him. Nami bit her pink lips lightly, her pretty face was full of tension. Attack. Getting closer. I can already feel the strong tearing airflow accompanying this kick, sweeping across every part of Layfon's body. Just at this kick, less than 10 centimeters away from Layfon. That moment. Shave. Layfon performed the 6-style shaving. Moment. His body disappeared without warning. Without a trace. It's as if it just disappeared out of thin air. Without any warning. It also made Sanji unable to react at all, and Layfon's dodge speed can be called terrifying. Disappear out of thin air. Yes, in Sanji's eyes, Layfon really seemed to disappear out of thin air. Can't see the movement when dodging, let alone Layfon's figure. Then, this kick is gone. What hit was just a cloud of air. One blow hit the air, which made Sanji feel bad. He frowned, his expression full of vigilance. Advertisement. The eyes are quick. Sanji looked around carefully, trying to catch Layfon's figure. What's more, he has already put up all his energy, and he dare not show the slightest slack or carelessness at all. Where are people? Sanji's pupils shrank. Can't find it. Where did people go? In just an instant, it disappeared without a trace. How can that be? Sanji, stay behind. Suddenly, Nami's scream rang from Sanji's ear. What? Sanji has no doubts about Nami's words. He trembled all over, turned around quickly, his eyes were full of shock and looked back at the position behind him. Really? He saw it. The smiling Layfon had already stood behind himself at some point. When? How can that be? I actually didn't notice it at all. Sanji's head seemed to be hit hard by a heavy object, his forehead was buzzing, his thinking became a little confused, and he couldn't calm down. Teleport. What the hell is teleportation? In an instant, the opponent circled to his rear. And I couldn't detect the slightest movement at all. This guy, when did you appear behind me? This horrifying thought remained in Sanji's head, and he couldn't suppress it for a short time. Can't figure it out. He dodged his own attack for an instant, and walked around behind him. What a terrifying speed is this? Before waiting, Sanji was open-minded. An extremely majestic sense of crisis completely swept over his body. Not good. Danger. Sanji had goosebumps all over his body. The boundless sense of crisis enveloped every cell in his body. He kicked his feet, trying to keep a safe distance from Layfon. But it's too late. Layfon, already shot. Sanji thought about it. The enemy he faces is strong. But Sanji never dreamed that the enemy in front of him would be so powerful. Moment. Layfon's figure disappeared again. Shave. When Layfon came out again 5.9 times, he was already standing close to Sanji's left flank. Like a ghost. Appeared, without the slightest advance warning. It's really like teleporting. It's so fast that people can't see clearly, let alone make any reaction. So fast. Sanji's throat was dry, and his face was filled with horror and horror. His body couldn't react at all. Can only watch helplessly, the attack from Layfon. I see. Layfon kicked hard, aiming for Sanji's lower ribs. Then, do not hesitate. No mercy. Without keeping a hand, this kick finally hit Sanji's waist and ribs hard. Boom. With a bang. The heart-wrenching pain made Sanji grunt unbearably, his entire waist was about to fall apart, and his ribs were affected by the terrifying force, almost about to shatter. Huge force spreads from Sanji's waist to the whole body, as if to completely destroy the body. At the same time, terrifying power enveloped Sanji's body from the waist, knocking his body away dozens of meters away, like a kite with a broken string, hitting the wooden wall completely uncontrollably. Rumble. There were loud noises. The entire narrow room seemed to be about to collapse, violently shaking and trembling. Chapter 70 Facing the entire Straw Hat Pirates alone. Open black lens bracket 4/8 for customization. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Silence. The atmosphere has become extremely strange. The excitement on the faces of Nami and Chopper suddenly became a little stiff, and the hope that had just risen in the bottom of their hearts seemed to be about to be shattered. What's going on? Just now, what did they see? Grunt. Nami swallowed her saliva, her beautiful eyes widened and rounded, she stared blankly at the ruined area in the corner full of shock and horror. Chopper also followed Nami's gaze, dumbfounded, his body was extraordinarily stiff. What happened? They just felt that hope is coming. But the cruel reality gave them a resounding slap in the face. It was actually seconds. Yes, they witnessed with their own eyes that Sanji was instantly overwhelmed by the guy opposite. For such a result, they certainly never dreamed of it. Sanji couldn't even block a move. How can that be? Sanji, are you okay? Nami's pink lips trembled, and her voice came out in horror. It's incredible. She thought that there was hope. She has also pinned countless hopes on Sanji, hoping that Sanji can turn things around and save both her and Chopper from Marine's palm. Never thought. Sanji not only failed to do it, but also got involved. Being met face to face, instantly killed 14 seconds. How could Nami imagine this? Isn't Sanji very strong? In Nami's impression, Sanji's strength is extremely strong. It is precisely because of this that when Nami sees Sanji coming, she will reveal such exuberant excitement and ecstasy, and regain her inner hope and confidence. But the result, after all, exceeded Nami's expectation. Who would have thought? Sanji is second. Too fast. As soon as Sanji made a move, before they could react, he was instantly killed by the guy on the opposite side. One move back and forth, Sanji couldn't even block that monster's move. Nami, am I hallucinating? The person who flew upside down just now is really Sanji. Chopper's throat was dry, and his eyes were full of horror. Incredible. As strong as Sanji, it would be a second to meet him. Originally, Chopper had already regarded Sanji as his life-saving straw and last hope. After all, people are not as good as God. Sanji was killed in seconds. Once again let them fall from hope to despair. Emotion. From the beginning to the end, they have no hope. This moment, when they saw Sanji being instantly killed, Nami and Chopper fell to the bottom of their hearts, looking at the direction Sanji flew upside down with despair on their faces. Sanji, you got caught. Nami lost his eyesight and fell into a serious state of bewilderment. Up until now, she still couldn't imagine it. As strong as Sanji, still unable to shake the monster on the opposite side. Advertisement. The scary thing is, not only could it not be shaken, but it was instantly killed by the monster on the opposite side. Can't stop even one move. So how does Sanji save them? This is simply to die. Come to give away the behavior of the head. The battle situation changed too fast. Both Nami and Chopper couldn't react, and they stood there in a daze, their eyes lost, their faces terrified, and their bodies trembling unbearably. Sanji is here. Then, next second, Sanji was taken for a second. This sudden change in the battle situation, like a heavy object, slammed on the heads of Nami and Chopper, causing both of them to become confused. Even behind the Layfon, both Kebi and Beru were a little confused. For them, Sanji is strong. Just at the moment of the shot, Sanji gave Kebi and the others a sense of urgency. But still didn't expect it. It is this level of powerhouse who can be instantly killed by Layfon in one face-to-face. The gap is too big. The two looked at Layfon's back, and then looked at the direction of Sanji, who was killed in seconds. They couldn't help swallowing, their faces were shocked, and their emotions couldn't be calmed down. Not only Nami and Chopper couldn't imagine this result. Rao Kebi and Beru, even though they have already known Layfon's strength, they still couldn't help but be shocked by Layfon's instant killing of Sanji. Rumble, with bursts of sound, it sounded from the edge of the corner. Sanji dragged his heavy body and stood up again. His body was stained with a lot of broken and scattered sawdust debris from the corners of the wall, and his clothes were also torn and had many holes, which made his figure look extraordinarily embarrassing. His blonde hair was already disheveled, and the corners of his mouth spread bloodline, and he no longer had the gentlemanly look he had at the beginning. The tingling sensation spreads from the waist to the whole body. Sanji gritted his teeth and took a deep breath to relieve the pain in his buttocks. He stared at Layfon, who was not far away, and spit out the cigarette in his mouth. Several ribs seemed to be broken. Feeling his own injury, Sanji's heart became more and more heavy. The enemy is strong. Very strong. Strong beyond Sanji's original expectations. He has already made all the preparations to deal with a strong enemy. But in the end, he was still negligent. This formidable enemy was far beyond what he had prepared. This prompts, Sanji will be instantly seconds. Ahem. Sanji coughed violently, vomited blood again, his entire waist seemed to be pierced by sharp needles all the time, and the stinging pain made him moan unbearably. This kick is too ruthless. With one kick, Sanji's entire waist was almost crushed. This guy is ridiculously strong. At this age, he has already mastered such a terrifying level of strength, it's true. Sanji fixed his eyes on Layfon. To date, he was shocked by Layfon's age. How did this guy train? Did you start practicing cultivation from the womb? Otherwise, how could it be possible to have such a terrifying level of strength at this age? It's incredible. This kind of example, even Sanji has never heard of it. This is the first time he has witnessed it with his own eyes, and it is also the first time he has heard and come into contact with such a terrible example. But 6 or 7 years old. But the strength is so powerful. So strong that even Sanji didn't think he could shake it. Advertisement. Sanji, are you okay? Chopper dragged his heavy body all the way to Sanji's side, asking worriedly. It's okay, not too serious. You can continue to fight. Sanji's face was slightly pale, and he said seriously. I'm with you, this guy, we cannot defeat alone. Chopper immediately stared at Layfon covetously, not daring to relax. It is good. Sanji didn't shirk. Of course he does. The monster in front of him was not something he could fight alone. The strength that instantly killed him just now made him feel the huge gap in strength between him and Layfon in front of him. Sanji didn't want to admit it, but he had to. One-on-one words. He can't possibly be the opponent of Layfon in front of him. The atmosphere is depressing. The sense of oppression from Layfon fully dominates Sanji, Chopper, and Nami, making them tense and not daring to relax or be careless. Only one person, completely oppressing them and not daring to act rashly. The strength is still weak. Layfon looked at the 3 men who were staring at him with a smile, and said slowly, I can give you enough time to call and send the rest of the crew back. The words fell. Sanji and Nami's hearts tightened. They cannot judge. What the hell is Layfon planning? Conspiracy. Want to wipe out the Straw Hat Pirates. Don't think too much. As I said, there is no Marine setting up an ambush here, and there will be no Marines surrounding this place. As for your doubts about whether I have a conspiracy, I might as well tell you my conspiracy directly. Today, my target is your entire Straw Hat Pirates. Even if you don't gather here today, I will find your partners one by one, and break them down one by one. And now, I'm giving you a chance to dispatch the entire Straw Hat Pirates to face me alone. If you miss this activation, there will be no such good thing. What do you think? Layfon seemed to see through Sanji's worries. That's right, he's going to face the entire Straw Hat Pirates alone. In this way, it is more interesting from Layfon's point of view. Sanji. Nami looked to Sanji, seeking the latter's opinion. She was worried whether there would be fraud in it. As he said, if he really wants to deal with us, we can't escape. Once he selectively breaks down one by one, the situation will be even more troublesome. At that time, it is very likely that the entire army will be wiped out here. However, if we can integrate everyone's strength, our chances of winning will obviously be much higher. One-on-one, I don't think anyone else on our ship can deal with this monster. Sanji's tone was heavy. Luffy, Zoro, even if it is one of them, it is absolutely impossible to do it. If you can meet him face to face, you will kill him instantly. This strength, Sanji can be 100% sure, is definitely not something Luffy or Zoro can deal with alone. What's even scarier among them is, Sanji still can't figure it out. Has the opponent's strength just now been exhausted? Perhaps. The other side is just starting to warm up. Think about it. Sanji's mood became more and more vigilant, the hairs all over his body stood on end, and the ubiquitous sense of crisis swept over his body.